All right, there we go. Mics are live now, so everyone should be able to hear us. Nope, not right there.
All right. Hey, everybody. Everybody out there. Duct taped. It's a little early in the night to talk about duct tape, Doom. We haven't even gotten into the show yet. How's your week been, Blue?
It's been a week.
Yeah, I gotcha. Do you see my tweet about the frickin' tabletop
Yes,
that I
I did.
managed? Oh my god. So mad.
That looked tough.
Uh-huh. Julie had that morning, because I've been house sitting all week. So I've been gone, haven't been able to really be at the house much, and I was like, "Oh, I'll go home and stream. I'll stream from my own setup. It'll be great." She had moved the table into the garage that morning, which luckily it was a gift from one of her clients, but it was a pretty expensive table.
Was it a
And she
tempered
laid
glass?
Yeah, she laid it down.
Ow.
She laid it down on the sheets and everything. Oh, duct tape does not fix that. It's so bad. But it was also in my blind spot because I always park on the right side of the garage. So I was like, okay, there's room. I totally pull in. I pull in, I park the car, and then I hear crack.
So you could say that it exploded in your hands.
No, we're not saying that. We're not saying that. Send me your... God damn it, you guys. Send me your whips. What the hell?
Off to
Already?
a flying start.
I'm telling you, just don't pull up the stream. That's all I'm gonna say.
All right. Thank you, Legato. Are you doing that again where you're flashing it across the screen? Thanks to... I'm glad that a freaking Dwyer warned me about it last week. Oh my god. You guys are terrible.
It went boom. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
no. Tempered glass, man. Tempered glass that'll jack you up too.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's one of those things that the instant it gets like a little bitty crack, it just goes.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes
basically got that.
everywhere. It goes everywhere.
Yeah. It was like a half-inch thick too, so it wasn't anything small. It was nice and heavy, which is why she had it laying down. Because she was afraid that if she stood it up on its side, it would like fall because of the vibrations. Because we had a new roof put on our house this week as well, and it's like, oh my god, it's been a thing.
Don't worry. Green's got it covered.
Exploded. What do I have covered?
She tried to not let it fall over.
Oh yeah, I pinned it down pretty dang hard to the freaking garage floor.
Okay.
Man, thank you, Legato, for the sub. By the way, you are awesome. You got your 3-month badge.
Nice.
Yeah. But
let me check something real quick because Teespring was giving me grief about not having something active, so I want to make sure.
okay, do we want to talk about that at the end? I think we should talk about it at the beginning too. The anniversary shirt, or not the anniversary shirt, but the Guardian Con shirt, because we only pushed it on one episode.
Okay, there it is. All right, so Streamlabs, it should have. So we have like this is just for in stream, guys, or live stream. So it's not going to be recorded or anything. Actually, I'm not recording anyways. So you have like the stream games on at least on my screen, it's on the bottom right. In the very middle, there's a button called Streamlabs. If you guys click on it, someone dethroned Pins.
Well, Pins gifted everybody with subs, and hey, Blue, guess what? You just got you gift sub to your own channel.
Heyo!
Hey!
I can do emotes now. So if you click on that stream, I think I don't know how this works. Oh, whoa! Okay, that's how that works.
Streamlabs, all in one. You can see all the different things.
Does it show what? Oh, because I'm logged in as. All right.
Yeah. Hey, Project Guardian.
Thanks, Project Guardian. 2014.
Blue does have a personal Twitch. He never uses it. Don't even worry about it. He's only ever on FFC.
Everything I know is a lie. Yeah. No, I don't. I don't even remember if I have it. I don't even know if I have
your
it logged
login?
in. I don't. I'd probably. Well,
really
I might have it on my phone.
Okay. So you can chat in people's things.
Well, I think it's so I can watch stuff. No, because when I was talking to you when I was at work the other day, was it through Focus Fire or was it through my personal Twitch?
Pretty sure it was through Focus Fire.
Okay, then I don't even have it on that.
Blue goes incognito all the time. Yeah, Blue is like the disappearing man. Although the only time I saw him slow down at GuardianCon last year, he passed out, and I have an awesome photo that if I had control of the stream, I would flash across the stream, where he's like snoring and sleeping, and I have my mouse like.
It was totally worth the VIP lounge.
Yes, it was quiet there.
That VIP lounge was so clutch.
Mm-hmm.
It was like the only place that was not like. Alright, so let's see. If I click here.
It was nice and relaxing. Plus, the food was pretty good too.
How does this extension work?
I don't know. I haven't used it yet.
It doesn't make any goddamn sense. Alright, so if I go here.
You know what? I'll do this. If you are in stream and you would like to see the photo from last year that I am talking about, I'm going to tweet it out. Because there's nothing like going back and looking at memories, right? Right?
Okay, that's that's the Streamlabs. Okay, no, I need. Where's the?
There's my dredging pen. There's.
Oh, okay, that's where it is. Oh, that's cool. Okay, so if it's not actually on the screen, if you scroll down, it's in the banner. You can see all the shirts that we have. And I think I have. Oh, yep, there. I got the stack up sticker and the What Does the Lore Say sticker. And then the pay-in stickers for the debate.
I already saw somebody tweet that out about a question for the panel, by the way.
I mean, are you surprised?
No, I'm really not. It's just disappointing. Huh.
All right, so yeah, that's where that is. Got it.
Just camera.
And I did.
Looking for green hair. That's what I'm looking for. There's some green. There we go. There's GuardianCon time. Maybe. Maybe not. Sister's bachelorette party. Okay. This is not helpful. Oh, I have a folder called GCon. I did not realize it. Here we go.
Classic.
Right? Oh, here we go. Blue Crew. I'm going to tag you and FFC. Because it's actually less flattering for me than it is for you, but I don't care.
I'm pretty sure. I was about to say, if I remember this, I don't think it was a bad picture. To be
It's
honest,
not a terrible photo.
Given what I was in the middle of doing at the point.
Sleeping?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was just being a weirdo.
I was past. Who
Hi,
was that at the
Leo.
back? Wasn't that Lucky and Butt White behind us?
Was it?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I don't even remember who was
That was
behind
like
us in that photo.
That was the only time that I did not.
Oh, it
I
totally
stopped.
is. Huh. That's cool. Yeah, it was a long con last year. Jopa, I didn't realize you had gone last year. You're going this year, right?
Yeah, I'll be there. Yeah, I think I said hi to you. I was like basically brand new to like content creation and stuff, and also I didn't have the beard last year, so I don't think it was much different. So everyone's
Gotcha.
not gonna recognize me compared to that last year.
Hey, you gonna run with us with the Hydra crew? Because we're thinking about doing the Crucible thing to try to get those tokens as the clan.
I'm 100% down.
Hell yeah!
I want all the things.
Mm-hmm. I think we're gonna do that Saturday because I know that Dwyer and Lux don't get in until late Friday.
Okay. Yeah, I'll probably focus on some of the other activities then on Friday. That makes sense.
Sweet. All right, Blue. Let me know when you're ready, and we can start Audacity.
Okay,
we need a brew pub. Man, there's a lot of bars and restaurants at the whatever the name of the resort is. Jopa, you ready?
I'm ready.
Awesome. I count down 3, 2, 1. Click is when we start, and after that, there's a little bit of like dead time before I actually start the real show. So here we go. 3, 2, 1. Click. And real brew pub. I don't know enough about Orlando, although I think I have a guide this year. All right. Top 3 bad habits. You guys ready for this?
Definitely.
Blue?
Yes. Yes. Upgrades.
When Blue's not paying actually too much attention to it.
My trimps got upgraded. Yay!
Your trimps?
Yeah.
What's that?
Oh, you don't know what trimps are? All right, hang on. Shit. What screen am I playing on? Which monitor is this on?
Of your 8, I don't know.
I don't know either, okay? I'm trying to find that out. Leave me alone!
Oh my gosh.
Alright. Or I'll put it on stream. Trimps.
Let me look. Finding live. Is this that game you were talking about the other day?
I might have been playing this game for over about 8 months. It's amazing. You click the things and the numbers go up, and you click more things and the numbers continue to go up. It's awesome. It's trimps.
Okay.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Trimps just turned into jerky. What?
See, Wet Chinchilla knows what I know what it is. It's a clicker game. It's amazing.
It's a click, like you literally can you I don't know. Do you like click too many times and get penalized or
No, it's idle. It's an idle clicker. So like once you get to a certain point, you just leave it alone, basically, and the numbers just continue to get bigger.
And this is fun?
Oh, this is amazing. This is amazing is what this is. It's like gaming at its purest. Oh no, I get it. Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I don't understand.
Trimps. Oh, Tribbles. That would be a fun name for it too, actually.
Tribbles? Isn't that what the little race
Star
is?
Trek.
And
Star Trek, yeah.
All right. I am ready. You guys are ready. We are ready. Chat, I think, is maybe ready. But here we go. Welcome to FFC Top 3, a show where we, your FFC hosts, count things down from 3 to number 1. Thank you for joining us this week. If you have a suggestion for a topic for Top 3, as always, you can find us on Twitter, in Discord, at FocusFireChat, or in our Discord, Gmail, focusfirechat@gmail.com. There's all the different places you can find us. This week, we are talking about our top 3 bad habits. And this one did not take very long for me to figure out. I don't know about you two. We have Blue here, as always. And then we also have our guest of the evening, Mr. Jopa Wrights. Jopa, I'm gonna actually make you go first, sir. What is your number 3 bad habit?
Number 3 bad habit that I have never been able to kick is biting my nails. It's something that I've done. I don't know why. It's not a nervous thing, although it kind of is. It's just I feel like I'm always active with my hands, so it's something that I've tried to stop doing several times, and I don't even notice it when it's happening often. So that's probably number 3.
Nice. It's biting fingernails is just like a super common one, and I get it. It's one of mine as well. It is definitely one of mine. Blue, what is your number 3 bad habit?
My bad habit, or my number 3 blah blah blah. I'm just gonna say
Blah, blah, blah.
speaking. Apparently, no. Is being often blunt in conversation. No, not at all. I constantly am getting told that it's like you need to be more diplomatic. I'm like, that's a waste of time because I don't care. But yeah, no, that's one of my bad habits is I just usually just don't really couch conversations. I'm not a big fan of that. So.
Okay. I don't know how that is because I grew up being very diplomatic. Like my whole family is super, super diplomatic. So the utter bluntness, and this is something that's really a conversation Julie and I have had many times because her family is very similar to you. They are blunt, they get it out of the way. It is out in the open. My family, we like hem haw, and it's very light and polite, and it's a lot of diplomatic posturing.
Right. And it's so funny. It's like, because Black Flag actually is bringing up a point too. I think I've said this before is like in person, I'm much more introverted, like, which is funny because we do the podcast, but like the thing that I like try to remind people of when I tell people that I do a podcast, it actually honestly really surprises them because I don't talk much when I'm actually in person, usually. Unless it's something that I'm comfortable or that I'm knowledgeable about, then I'll talk. But if it's something like chit chat and stuff, I don't enjoy it and I don't really participate in it, which is off-putting to a lot of people, which is weird to me because to me it's just if you don't have anything to say, just don't say anything. But like I'm very introverted in person. Which is really kind of funny because they're talking about that actually in chat right now. They're like, but you host a podcast? So
you have an objective in the podcast though, that helps.
Yeah, no, and that's what I was going to say too is like because the podcast is so focused on specific topics. Like we come into this particular thing knowing what we're going to talk about. So even tangents aside, which actually, I mean, even the tangents really are related insofar as the overall topic as well. But yeah.
Plus, it's mostly communicating with people that you're familiar with and not like generally people on the street. I've seen that with a lot of people is once they get comfortable, it's so much easier to open up and actually have those conversations compared to if there's a group of 4 or 5 and you don't know half of them, you know?
Right. No, and that's exact, and that hits on my introverted nature. Like that to me is if I don't recognize people, I'm not very open. Like I don't come across. I don't know how I come across, but I know like within professional circles, I don't come across as very open because usually I'm so focused on fixing the problems that I have in front of me that I don't have time to kind of be like, oh hey, how's the weather? Like no, that's yeah.
Yeah, I get you on that one. If I can be very personable in person. I can be very, very much so the crowd center of attention kind of person if I need to be. When I'm out with Julie, I prefer not. I like to take this back seat with that for sure because it's easier in some ways because it's more draining to be on all the time, entertainer all the time. But my number 3 is something that drives my wife crazy as it is the fact that I leave random items in places that they don't go. So shoes, keys. I kid you not, I have left my keys in the refrigerator at one point.
That's great.
It's shoes and keys are like the most common one, or my wallet. My wallet will be wherever in the house. There's no rhyme or reason for it. I have to have very specific locations where I'm supposed to put it. I made a car key hook thing that has like our name on it. It's really pretty. My car keys are right now sitting on a window ledge in the stairwell instead because I'm bad about putting it where it's supposed to go.
Yeah. What's hilarious is my wife was actually just telling me that I do the same thing pretty much every day, and it's the same thing, keys and wallet. And today, yeah, she was like, I was looking for the keys, and she's like, you probably left them on some random table. So I looked at all the tables around the house. It was in the bedroom on the side table, even though we, like you, have a hook for them. So I feel your pain on that 100%.
Oh yeah. There's like my wife at one point decided she's just like, I'm going to get you this little. It's essentially a pager for your keys that you put this little car key hook on your keys, and then it connects to an app on your phone, and you can set it off
They're
to
very
where
useful.
you can look.
I want to get one for my child.
I may or may not have been bought one of those for a Christmas present last year.
Oh gosh, but yeah, it's such a bad habit of mine just to leave crap all over the place that just doesn't make sense. But we're up to number 2 now, Mr. Jopa.
Chat.
Terrible.
Green, Green, you should be Bungie's consultant for placing collectibles.
That is, Baru, if you'd like to petition Bungie to hire me for that, I would be very appreciative.
That's fantastic.
That's amazing.
Oh my goodness.
All right. So my number 2, I have a terrible habit of opening social media, like looking at my phone, not really actually looking at anything, closing it, and then like less than a minute later, just reopening it and just kind of perusing it. Like I know there's nothing there that I want or need to do, but habitually I just kind of open it and just kind of I'm like, oh, look at this. Yeah. And then it's still open. And I do that far too often, even when I'm not even paying attention. I'm watching a show and I'll look down and I'll just have it open for no apparent reason.
Yeah, yeah. It's my wife has to get onto me. We have no social media time where I have to put my phone down.
Green's wife's going to construct a Faraday cage around their house.
Yeah, I hope not. That would be really depressing. Lou, what is your number 2?
One of my, kind of ties into my number 3, but being impatient. Like I said, I don't really chit chat. So it's not, but it's not just with conversations. Like I usually, again, kind of my personality, is I try to find the most efficient way to do stuff, and then I try to get it done as quickly as possible. And that's like everything. And it drives people up the wall because I don't operate on, oh, hey, let's sit back and enjoy this. If I'm not doing something and working on something, I actually get really anxious. So that's really fun when I have vacation, because it's like I need to be doing something. Even if it's not something like hugely important, I just need to have a project going.
It takes practice to slow down. When I was teaching, I was very much so the same way. But now that I'm not teaching, I've been able to find moments where I can just kind of sit down and have a cup of coffee on a porch in the early morning and just slow down, not think about it. Now, granted, I'm terrible and have my phone out and I'm looking at social media, seeing what Bife and Log and everybody else is talking about for that day, but it's hard to slow down sometimes. My number 2 is, and it is kind of a weird one because it's very specific. I've been teaching an 18-year-old boy how to drive, helping out a friend of ours, friend of the family, teaching him how to drive. And driving in a city where I'm at now is very different than what I grew up doing, because I grew up in small town Kansas. Very, very small town. And the thing that I started thinking about habits that I have, or habits that I grew up doing, and country town turns or country road turns, meaning you don't use a turn signal because there's nobody for like 5 miles, and it just feels silly to turn on a turn signal for nobody else. Are I find myself sometimes doing that in city where I'm getting ready to turn or merge into a different lane and I forget to turn on my turn signal. Now, I've gotten better since I've lived here for about a year, but the habits that you get into, like you don't stop at stop signs in the country sometimes because there's nobody around. You're alone. There's like you fishtail around corners and you race out there and
Or
do things that are
a rolling
probably
stop, right?
illegal. Oh yeah. Like yeah, like I don't know. The worst thing you have to worry about in country roads or dirt roads are semi trucks during harvest season.
Yes.
That's about it. And the rest of the time, I have on more than one occasion, because the school that I went to was about 2.5 miles from the town I grew up in. And it was in essentially dead center between two towns in the middle of a cornfield. And I would end up being late for school, lo and behold, or late for choir practice in the morning. And so I would zip across, and there was a train. I would try to beat the train because country roads don't have the nice little cross barriers that you can avoid. So I would zip down the country roads, fishtailing around corners to beat the train so I can get to school on time. Never had too close of calls. And if it was getting close, I would definitely stop. But I've beaten the train on more than one time. So bad habits of driving. I am a good driver. I will say that. Like everyone who's like, "Oh my god, I'm never riding with her." Yeah, no, I'm actually a very good driver. It's just I grew up being a terrible driver because of that. But number 1 bad habits. We are there already, ladies and gentlemen. Jopa, start us off.
My number 1 bad habit is I am a hardcore procrastinator. I work best when I have a very limited time schedule. When I have a deadline and I know I need to knock something out like right away. If you give me a week to get something done, I'm going to wait till the very end of the week to get it done, more than likely.
Yeah.
It's a major problem. Again, the wife yells at me pretty often for it. Not really yells, she just kind of gets on me because she knows like it will only take me about half hour to do something, but I'll wait for so long. And I don't understand why I do it often. I'm just like, I can do it in a little bit. And that's one of my big downfalls is I always have ideas and things I want to do and need to do, and I just will put it off until I have to do it.
Oh yeah. I've gotten better about being on top of things, and chunking away little bits at a time, because pulling the all-nighters, doing the thing at the last minute sucks. Except for cleaning. Cleaning is always a last minute thing. Just, it's an unfortunate reality, but I don't know. Life gets in the way. You want to do other things. Blue.
Exactly.
Yeah, mine's actually along the same lines. I don't know if you want to call it procrastination or just like a prioritization of things differently than what probably is important.
That is a nice way of saying you're putting other things ahead of your procrastinating.
Yeah, right. And it's not because I mean the thing is like when I say procrastination, I kind of get the feeling of like I don't know, like it gives me the sense that you're not doing anything necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not really what I'm doing. I just put other things ahead of what I should be doing. And like, I have so many projects going on at any given time, you know, that sometimes it's like, I don't really want to do that project. I'd rather do, you know, something with the focus fire, you know, something like not necessarily air quote important.
Right. It's just,
but
it's
again, I don't know if that,
but
yeah,
it's not as
yeah, it's like, I don't know,
I
don't know the really terminology for it. I don't even know if it's necessarily I guess it's a bad habit. I don't know. I have a difference in prioritization.
Yeah. My number one is related to cell phones and my addiction of looking at new apps that are going to help things be more efficient. I was actually just telling Jopa about an app that will automatically tweet out when a new YouTube video on your channel has gone up.
Yeah. Is that what that link is for?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that app. I love that app. It does a lot more than that.
Oh, it does. It links different platforms that don't normally go together, which is great. And it also does like house wide things too.
And you can, so the app in question that Green is talking about is If This Then That, or If, I think is what it's called now.
Oh yeah.
Like they've actually gone through, I've actually had that app since I think they were in their beta stage. I absolutely love that app because basically what it does is it takes various platforms and various programs of different things and it reduces it down to a simple if then that statement.
It's a command statement.
Yeah, but it basically helps you kind of pseudo hack different things. And they've gotten to a point now where they have, you know, smart homes, you have gosh man, you can do all sorts of crazy stuff. My phone, I actually have it on my phone and it automatically, I have my phone set up so that it automatically turns off the ringer during work hours. And so
turns on Wi-Fi when you get within a certain radius of your home, and turns it off when you leave.
Yep, you can geotag or you can geolocate things depending on your phone model. And so if I'm pulling out of if I'm not at home, my phone can automatically set up so it's turning on Bluetooth and it turns off Wi-Fi automatically. So I don't have to do it. I don't have to even think about that entire process.
It's super handy.
You can do stuff where like if you're on your phone and you are like within 10 minutes of your home, if you have a smart home, it'll automatically turn on the lights. It'll automatically reconfigure the settings for whatever apps that you have. I mean, it's very, very robust and it's absolutely free. That's the other thing that's just amazing about it. But yeah, the Twitter has Twitter, YouTube. I think they have Reddit in there. I mean, it's very robust.
This is called If Then That, and I can put a link in chat for those that are there right now. It's iftt.com. That is the easy way to do it, and you can find it on Google Play Store, or I'm pretty sure you can find it on iPhone and whatnot as well, or the Apple Store.
Yeah, I think it's with the iOS too. I think because I'm pretty sure it does iOS stuff. But I mean, the cool thing is it also makes writing the script. It's basically script writing, but it makes writing the scripts. It's one of the most user friendly apps out there, I would say. It makes doing some really cool stuff really super easy. which is why it's so widely popular. But you can get like,
Mhm.
there's stuff you can do with like notifications for the Library of Congress, the American Psychology Association. You know, there's
You can,
all sorts of stuff. RSS feeds is a big one that we
uh-huh.
have. Pretty
You can
much.
even tweet NASA photos for you as soon as NASA tweets them, which I
Pretty
may
much
have.
all the webhooks in the Discord that we have for Focus Fire are run through that platform.
Fair warning though, sometimes they're called recipes, they get shut off, and so you have to
Mhm.
go back and you fix them or whatnot. But as far as like productivity apps and stuff like that, I have my bad habit is actually downloading a ton of new ones and looking at them, trying them out, getting bored with them, and then leaving them on my phone. And so I have folders upon folders of apps that I do not use, but I have them in case.
In
Um,
case.
You
just in
never
case.
know.
You never know. They might come out with an update that makes it great, but the problem is I've never gone back into those apps. Like I could pull up my phone right now and I've got folders. I've got probably 13 different folders. I have a folder for health thing. I think this last thing I used in my health folder was All Trails, and that was 2 months ago. And I have things in here that I haven't used since probably 2 years ago. But yeah, I collect applications, guys. So send me your favorite application. I would like to try it and then never use it again. But
Wow.
I mean, some things are obviously they're good and you use them more often and whatnot. I just have a bad habit of just not deleting the old stuff that I don't use. That being said, I think we've gone all the way through our normal bad habits. Did you guys have anything that didn't quite make your top 3 list that you would consider a bad habit that you care to share?
I mean,
Um,
yeah.
Okay. Go for it,
Uh,
Blue.
mine is I have like an unhealthy addiction to finding memes and gifs.
Yes, you
And
do.
and
Especially
I
supernatural ones.
yeah, I might be able to hold entire conversations without saying a word. Like I have done that before and my
With
wife
your
cannot.
brother.
Yeah, my brother and I have the same problem. But I'll do it to my wife all the time and she gets so mad. It makes me kind of happy, but I get in so much trouble because
Mm-hmm.
I'm constantly looking. That's the thing is like I will like I'll be in the middle of a conversation and I'll just be like I'll be browsing my phone looking for stuff.
You may have started doing that in our freaking private chat with your like the three-way chat that we have
Yeah,
with Anna,
I found
which we use for business. Just saying.
I found out that Google has on their Google keyboard they have the option to search against Giphy. that was bad news for everybody.
Mm-hmm. Every answer I got was a supernatural gift, specifically supernatural.
Yeah, oh yeah, because they're like they're like the Bible of gifts. Like they have
Mm-hmm.
ridiculous amounts.
Mm-hmm. Jopa, what about you? Do you have any also rans?
I mean, I think a lot of my other bad habits are pretty common. Like I have a tendency to always be looking for new games before I finish my old games. I think that's
Mm-hmm.
something that a lot of people have an issue with, and I'm pretty bad about it. Like today, there was a under $10 PSN sale that I
Nice.
might have been perusing, even though I know I don't have time to play any of the games.
Right.
So,
Gosh. One of mine is I press really hard down on my left thumbstick and I break the thumbsticks. Especially Destiny. I've had to replace probably 5 different thumbsticks on my SCUF controller for my Xbox. And I'm a little worried because I don't think there's a replacement option on my PlayStation controller. And it's starting to like show the cracks of the immense amount of pressure I put on that left thumbstick. Because my right one's fine. Like I don't press hard on that one, but apparently I think if you press down harder on the left one, you'll run faster.
You keep
I'm sure that's how it works.
Right? Yeah, that's how it works, right? That's how I wish I would be the queen of running. run
you
everywhere
hear a
super
little
fast.
snap. Ah.
I've never snapped one in half. I have pushed the rubber off of the thumbstick enough to where it will rip in the middle of the game.
Oh my god.
Yeah, we did that with Smash Brothers. That was what we always broke.
Mhm.
We broke controllers because of the roughness with controllers. Like not necessarily like throwing or anything like that, but like literally because we would be doing pretty much what you're talking about. We'd get so intense that we'd be so hyped up. So do you like break the controller or just wear down the
No.
thumbstick?
I wear down the rubber on the thumbsticks.
Oh, okay.
Really easily.
So you don't.
So
You're not.
they
You're not like literally breaking it. You're just wearing it
no.
down. Okay.
I mean I basically rip the rubber off of it because of just too much pressure. And I initially it starts out as warping the left thumbstick because my scuff is actually fine right now. I would take a picture of it, but my PlayStation 1 is in the house that I've been house sitting, so I can't take a picture of that one. But it warps to where there's a big divot off to the left of the thumbstick because that's where I set my thumb. I have it kind of set off to the side where I play. But yeah, Scuff has gotten a lot of purchasing power out of me because I've had to replace multiple thumbsticks from them. And yes, you also have to tilt your controller in driving games. It is the rule. I made also duck during Crucible. If you
Green's gonna have an advantage on all of us when this finally goes to VR because she lives the playing style.
I do. Doom, I just saw your picture. That is exactly what my controllers end up looking like.
I may have dodged a shot while I was streaming that my buddy ended up clipping. That was pretty great. Like I almost went completely out of the frame. And I mean it worked. Didn't get hit.
Rockets are the worst. You see the rocket or a Jotun shot. Jotuns are the worst right now in Crucible. Yes. You see 100%. Them coming at you and you're like ducking. I do it in my car too. That's the other thing is I duck randomly while we're driving. If there's a bird coming at us, I duck.
Okay, that makes a little bit more sense. But
it's just it's just my reflexes. I've got on point reflexes, guys. It just doesn't make sense when I use them.
It just doesn't make sense.
That's great.
But
her reflex speed is amazing. Her brain just misfires when it should use them.
Hey. Like instinctually, if a bird's coming at your car, it theoretically, if it had enough force, could break your windshield and come flying at your face.
So I have a really funny story about that exact thing. When I was apprenticing for horseshoeing, one of the guys that I apprenticed under, he was a former Marine, but one of the times that he was driving, I think he was in Montana or Utah. It was one of the northern states, but he was driving back from a job really late, about 2 a.m. and he was nearly home. And it was like, he was a couple hours out. So he was nearly home and it was about 5 or 6 or early in the morning. The sun was just starting to kind of lighten the everything. And so there were a lot of birds, flying around. And he said that he was driving and he saw a bird kind of flying towards him and he didn't really think anything of it. And it hit his windshield and it cracked his windshield. And he was like, damn it. And so he keeps driving. He doesn't think anything about it. And he said when he gets home, he gets out of his car and he goes around to check the damage and it's a woodpecker. And it had lodged itself. It had killed it. It was dead because it snapped its own neck, but it had lodged itself into his windshield. He had to get a new windshield because the thing was so, the beak was so far in the windshield.
Oh, I feel so bad for it.
So, yes, technically a bird could crack the... could crack the windshield, but I don't know if it would go through the windshield.
No, I've cracked a windshield before with a bird, but I've never shattered it.
Green's programming temporarily forgets the magic of windshields. Okay, but a moose to the windshield that's gonna be lot bigger problem.
I live in a lower elevation than you see moose, but elks, that's a real problem. That's a real problem around here.
Oh, freaking white-tailed deer are a problem.
Right?
I live in Florida, and I hit a deer with my car.
No!
Like, back in the day. Yeah.
Rip your car.
We were coming home from the hospital because my ex was pregnant with with our oldest boy, and it's like she was having some contractions. We went to the hospital, nothing. We were driving home. It's 3 a.m.
Oh no!
And
no.
yeah,
What?
yeah. So we're driving along. We're both exhausted or whatever. She started having some issues like next to me, and I was like, oh, we got to turn around. So I like look at her to make sure she's okay, and I turn back, and the deer is just stationary in the road. So it was bad news.
Dang.
But we were fine. The deer was not.
The deer was not. Yeah. How was the car though?
Right.
It was totaled, but I got a new car.
I was about to say, yeah. Deer, whitetail deer will. They'll. It does not take much to mess up a car.
No.
Not at all.
It was like a Hyundai or something, so it was like, yeah, it was totaled pretty easily.
Easy peasy, man. All right.
Unless you guys went to hospital, go home, hits deer, go back to hospital.
Yeah, basically. Unless you guys have other ones, I think that's it for this week's top 3.
Nope, I'm good.
Yeah, that's it for me.
Nice. Thank you guys for hanging out with us and joining us for top 3. Next week, I don't know. What do we know what next week's is, Blue? You had it in there.
Video game soundtrack.
Yay! That's exciting. I think ours will be very similar.
Probably.
Maybe. But thank you guys for joining us for top 3. Remember, send us your top 3's bad habits if you're willing to share. Please keep them bad habits that are safe for work, because I'm sure there are people out there, especially in our chat right now, because I'm looking at a few of you like, don't you dare do it. But send us your top 3 bad habits, and remember, everybody loves a list. Because I'm looking at Raz and Lava and Black Flag.
Chinchilla, I haven't said anything yet!
I feel attacked. Listen, I'm innocent. Look, every single one of you who I mentioned are like, wait a second. Wait a second.
Don't touch the buttons.
You're saving that for the After Dark segment? Nice. That's funny. There's Blue flashing the freaking thing up on the screen again.
No,
yeah, stop it. I saw that.
Never.
I see it. God damn it. I can't prove anything. I can look at the grenade-eyed music lover. I literally read that instead of saying what I was going to say. Yay, you switched the picture.
Green loves this banner.
It's creep. You said it was Gamma Trap's image? What did you merge on top of it?
No, this one was. I don't know whose that was, to be honest.
It's creepy as fuck.
It's I took the image of Nokris and then blended it with the crystals from the Savathun strike, and then took some green flames and overlaid those on the crystals.
God. Raz, I'm gonna fucking kill you.
Okay.
Yes.
No.
Can I have Raz? Can I have one?
He's gonna put it on his freaking hat.
I'm making hundreds of the day. You love me.
You're okay.
Yes,
Crucible.
you can. You can have one. You can have one.
Crucible, you and me. I have my Xbox. I don't have it plugged in right now, but I have my Xbox. You and me.
What is she making for me?
She's making you the send me your whips hashtag. With the God damn it.
Bumper stickers.
No. No. Chinchilla?
I'll be right back. Bye.
Oh my god.
Raz, I can do that too.
Oh my god. No. No.
I'd have to overlay it with the Focus Fire logo.
This chat is compromised. Angry.
Raz will make a
You'll
third
make a-
Etsy.
Oh my god. Look. Look you. No. Angry Petra. Angry Petra. You pill. This is the reason I made an Angry Petra emote. Just for situations like this. We need more shirts. I can actually work on that, Legato. I just
What?
haven't. He says we need more shirts.
I think I have...
Raz wants.
I think, yeah, hang on.
I need more alcohol. I need to go get my coffee. I'm gonna be right back. Chat, I'm watching you. By the way, my headset, it's wireless. So if you say something, I will know. Never mind the fact that everything's text-based. Razor Edge Raz. Razor's Edge. Edge Raz. What are you looking for?
That's right. Okay. I'm assuming it's the one with the giant Hydra name on it.
Probably. Are you looking at Twitter?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, here. Yeah, Hydrasov.
Yeah.
With the purple flames.
Yes.
That's her.
No, we need shirts with "Send me your whips."
No! I designed the shirt. I had control on that one. I may be leaving the room.
Just out of the back. No! Thanks, Hex. Shoulder patches. Oh, we can get Elaine. Don't do it. Where's Nerd Needle when we need her?
Oh my.
Inquisition.
Harry Potter Wizards Unite came out. Oh, I know what my
Yeah.
son's gonna be playing.
That's been all over my timeline the last day and a half.
Oh, that's right. They notified me because that's what I ignore
Is it
half
like a
of.
Pokemon Go type
Yeah,
thing?
yeah, it's
Yeah,
same,
yeah.
same.
It's
from the
same
same.
I think it's. Yeah, I was about to
company.
say, isn't it from the
Yeah,
same?
Niantic.
Raz, if I try to murder you at G-Con, I will make sure nobody else knows.
I'm hiding behind all of you.
Your doom is nigh. Yeah, between you, Raz, and Doom for Zombies, which I know you're still in here, Doom.
Oh, Doom has yes.
Blue knows what Doom's plan is, which terrifies me.
See
Frickin' A.
jesters.
What did Wicked say? I'm getting a no. You better. God damn it, Wicked.
Classic.
Is your wife cool with that, Wicked? I was about to say, is my wife cool with that? I don't know. I told her about it. I had to explain what whips were.
Oh, that's cute.
All right, I am ready. I have coffee. I have a chat that's a little unruly.
A little.
Welcome, chat. She didn't know what whips were because Julie doesn't deal with content creators like I do, and honestly, I did not know what whips were. Not like WHIP, but WIPs. I didn't know what they were until Cole. So you learn things. Hey, Bacons. Nope, it's Whips. Works in progress. Like this.
Bacon's is another troll to add to the list, just FYI.
You think? Is he one of yours?
Yes.
Nice. Welcome to the craziness and the dispatching
no!
of
Where'd my
all the
soundboard go?
information. What happened to your soundboard?
Oh, nothing on my soundboard. I'm looking for the 8-bit theater soundboard that I had.
Gotcha. Was that the whip sound that you're gonna pull up?
No, it's Do you not know what 8-bit theater is?
I know.
Ah! Bit style. No, 8-bit theater. God damn it. Nuclear power. There. That's 8-bit theater.
Nuclear power. What? Oh.
It's amazing.
Did you see the meme thing that happened to, I guess technically started yesterday with DMG? That he grabbed the photo of Deej pointing
Oh no.
and he's oh yes. Oh
Oh no,
yes.
sorry. I was reading the chat. Yoga pants with send me your whips on the tush.
No, don't you why? I think okay, so that's like a personal pet peeve of mine. I think anything written on the ass is just utterly. You might as well use it for advertising space at that point, which granted, whips send me your whips technically would be, but you have the mixed bag of people who wear yoga pants that have the body to wear it well, and then you have it to where it's stretched out beyond recognition and it ruins the
But
brand.
isn't that more advertising space?
But bigger is not always better. I know. I come in bite size. Where it shows up on People of Walmart site. Yeah.
Yeah.
Accurate.
Oh my god, I'm gonna have to find this because they did a 8-bit theater animated one, and it's basically 8-bit theater is the 8-bit comic of a D&D game is basically the summary for it.
Gotcha.
And there's there's a part where the fighter's like, or the one of the mages is, do I have magic missile? I want to cast it at the darkness.
Prestidigitation.
No, that's an amazing spell. You can jack with people so easily with that.
Okay, I know we're recording, but we're not in the show. I have a definitely not suitable for adult or not suitable for children story that goes along with that spell. My very first DMing session where I was the dungeon master. My kindergarten teacher friend decided that she was going to prestidigitate a glowing it's as bad as you think it's going to be.
Yeah, I'm like,
thing.
my brain is going in a lot of different places that I'm
It
kind
was
of
a
nervous about where it's going.
giant,
So-
we're gonna say an adult toy, giant adult glowing toy that was basically their torch going through the caves. So there was this giant toy in a dark cave with multiple people following it, and it's like comedy gold. But as a dungeon master, for the very first time, I was like, "What?
What have I gotten myself into?
I'm never doing this for you guys again."
Oh my god, that's ingenious! Where's Josh when I need him?
Right?
I'm gonna
What's my
text him real
favorite
quick.
Crucible
Hang on.
map?
Josh.
The Dreaming City one, Doom. Dreaming City or the one on Titan that's really tiny and has the B point up on top of a lip. Or I guess like a raised platform. I can't think of what it's called at the moment.
Giant glowing.
You're writing that down to use at your next
I'm
session, aren't you?
I'm messaging Josh. I'm totally gonna tell him because he plays like every weekend, and I'm gonna be like, you need to use this.
It's so bad. And the thing is she
He's
had
gonna.
never played
The
Dungeons and
best part is
Dragons.
the best part is I sent him this shit completely out of context,
Right?
and he gets it, and for the most part, he just rolls with it. He's just like, okay, but every now and then he's like, wait, what? Like, oh my god.
Let me get the list. Pulling up the list of maps. Let's see here. Where is Wiki? You are way behind. Why doesn't Wiki is way behind. Last map update they had was looks like Warmind. Let's see there. Looking through
See,
the list.
the only problem is technically with prestidigitation, you can't create a torch.
No. But she wanted a glowing item, and I technically it would be like a combination of mix or cast light and
yeah, I was about to say
prestidigitation.
you could do a prestidigitation with cast light on it, and that would be hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it'd be so.
That's essentially what it was. D&D glowworm. Yeah, that's the nicest way to put it, Wicked. It was Zol.
It's the Akka of D&D.
Oh my gosh.
Get out of here.
Right? Okay, here we go. That's D1. That's D2.
That's no worm. Was it digging out the tunnel?
Why am I... The Citadel. There we go. Found it. Wormhaven is one of them, and then the Citadel is the other one.
Race.
What did Raz say? Oh, God. So you get a guru with some fire elemental imbued with talent or fetish and...
Oh, my God.
Welcome to the early after show. We started early tonight. Sorry, guys. Chat, although... Yes, that is actually what she called it, Screwball. That is what she called it. That is what she called it.
Oh.
I'm done.
Needless to say, I attract very interesting friends. What that says about you guys, I don't know.
That's fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Blue. Once you're unbroken, can we start the show?
That might take a while.
Oh my god.
I don't know how if the cast has ever been this far off the rails. Pins, I know. I'm sorry.
Oh my
Sitting
god.
this man some lips. Oh my god.
Oh. Oh man. Okay.
You were long gone before you found us.
Reset, reboot.
Yep.
Handle the.
Cleansing breaths. Breathe.
All right.
Yes,
All right. Let's see. Let me move this over here.
Potato. I'm done. Oh man.
All right. Welcome back for episode 172 of Focus Fire Chat, recorded live on June 21st over on twitch.tv/FocusFireChat. As always, want to give a big shout out to our live chat here with us tonight. Thank you so much for joining us once again. Our topic for tonight's episode is going to be a look at Hive Mythology. But first, let's run through a quick introduction of those on the show for tonight. As always, this is your host, Blue Crew 86. Next up, we have our own master of social media, the one and only Green Eye Music Lover. Green, I hope you're doing well. How has the week treated you so far?
I'm gonna be honest. The week has been a challenging one. But it is Friday night. I have a cup of coffee.
Things
I
aren't
might have
exploding.
spiked it with something. Things are not exploding. It's going to get better. So, we're going to get there. Just hold on.
Just hold
Might
on.
be a little
Just
rough.
hold on.
It might be a little rough.
And finally, in the hot seat as guest co-host, we have our good friend Jopa Wrights. Jopa, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm having an awesome week, and I'm very happy to be here.
Yee. Jopa here has all sorts of different places. I'm going to actually plug you a little bit here at the beginning, and then we'll plug you again here at the end as far as all the different places people can find you. Shout them out for everybody so they know.
Yeah, I'm pretty much found everywhere under Jopa Wrights. So that's Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Instagram, basically anywhere. It's Jopa Wrights is my username. Same thing on my gaming consoles, all that kind of good stuff. So I try to keep it uniform. Luckily, they let us change names and unify everything. So that's been very, very convenient.
Are you primarily on PS4 or where
Yeah, that's pretty much all I play on.
Nice. All right, Blue, back to you.
Well, no, actually, I was going to hand it right back to you because for the community question. But before actually, you reminded me. Before I do that, Jopa, how did you get into like the lore of Destiny and other games and stuff like that?
So I am a day one Destiny player.
Oh,
so
nice.
one of the things that has really interested me is the deeper connection. I know the Grimoire cards are something that kind of frustrated some people, but I'm also a big Dragon Age fan, and it was kind of a similar thing, only in game, where you had a lot of reading, a lot of research to do on the history, and once you did that, I feel like it kind of enriched the entire experience for me, because knowing the history of the locations, the history of the creatures and the races and all that kind of stuff has always been helped me kind of in my mind progress the game to a level beyond what it otherwise could have been. And knowing that there's these rich backstories and these enemies that we're facing have these great histories has just been super fascinating for me, because I'm also a longtime reader. I read the Wheel of Time series.
Nice.
I read all of a lot of fantasy books such as that, and again, those type of rich backstories just always enthralled me. So that's kind of how I got into it with Destiny as well, and it was the first shooter that had that for me.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of merged a bunch of my passions kind of together, which was awesome.
Yeah, that is really, and Wheel of Time, I absolutely love that series. What about, so like what aspect of the lore in Destiny do you usually gravitate towards the most? Like what is there a particular story or a particular aspect of it?
Well, I'm a Titan main, so anything to do with Titans is always very interesting to me. Like, I think one of the underrated stories in Curse of Osiris was that of Saint 14. Going and seeing his shrine, basically, was one of the coolest things in that expansion for me. Learning about Shaxx has always been awesome. Currently, I think it's got to be the Shin Malphur story. I think that one is the duality of light and darkness coming together is also great for me, because I love I watch Game of Thrones. I like darker, edgier tales. So having that, I think, is something that I've really enjoyed picking up on and watching unfold for sure.
Nice.
I got a question for you, Jopa, and it's kind of something I'm throwing together at you just off the cuff. If you had a soundtrack for your Titan, what song would be like your walk-up song, essentially? What would be the thing that you'd listen to the most while you're shooting other things or like killing Dueling Karu?
So this might sound weird, but it's going to be a throwback to a song I liked a lot when I was younger, and it's probably going to be Limp Bizkit's "My Way."
All right.
And the reason for that is I feel like, one, as a Titan, I'm going to do it my way. I'm going to punch everything that I can.
Mm-hmm.
And two, it's a song that gets me kind of pumped up and gets me real fired up. It's in your face, and I like that a lot. So that would probably be the song I would go to.
Nice. I bring this up because I was watching another podcast recording last night, Just Some Guardians podcast, and there was a story about how Fudd, I don't know if you know Elmer Fudd or not, but he is also a Titan.
Yep.
And they were working, him and a buddy were doing a 2-man of Shattered Throne. And apparently the song that got them to the point where they could kill Duankaru and finish Shattered Throne was I Feel Pretty from West Side Story. And I'm sitting here like, that is perfect for certain Titans that I know. So I just kind of want to know, like, I really want to know what everybody's like theme song now in their head is.
Yeah.
Like, what actually gets you going? Apparently Elmer Fudd loves I Feel Pretty.
I've
It's
known
great.
Fudd for quite some time. He is a different kind of Titan.
He is awesome.
So I'm not shocked by that answer from him at all. And he's a good friend of mine. So I'm not surprised, but also I guess every Titan's a little unique.
Oh yeah, I mean everybody's a little unique. It's just funny to see what everybody's theme song would be. But yeah. Question of the week though. Going back into normal show type stuff. And by the way, thank you for coming on, Jopa. It is
Thank you for having me.
Nice to have a Titan on here. We've had warlocks and hunters, and there haven't been very many Titans that have come on here. And wait, 2 weeks in a row, Dwyer's a Titan too. What are we doing, Blue?
Well, apparently, never mind. I was going to say something that there was discovered about Dwyer this past week on Twitter. But
what about Dwyer?
I guess it's not really safe for the podcast.
Gotcha. Anyway, that. The cheese Titan thing.
The cheese Titan thing. Let's just say Dwyer apparently is also an exo. So that led to some liberties being taken.
I just blame Cole. Oh my goodness.
Chat. Anyway. No, not the.
Yep. Don't continue with that one. Question of the week. Going back to safe topics, I asked this week of the community, which part of the Hive mythology would you like to see in Shadowkeep? So the upcoming expansion, and it's not really a DLC, but upcoming expansion coming this September 17th. There's a lot of lore that's going to likely become relevant again. And so I asked the community this because it's going to have a lot of callbacks to what we had before. And some of the answers I got were, I would like to see the remaining worm gods and what they are doing. That's from Cade7 on Twitter. Shay yelled Leviathans. He wants to see the Leviathans as the original Leviathan, the one that the siblings ran into back on Fundament. Doom for Zombies wants to see a resurrection ritual seen to completion. See, we have a nasty habit as Guardians of interrupting those rituals, so he wants to see what happens if we don't stop it.
He wants to listen to the full death metal concert.
I mean, if you want to go in Toland's shoes, fine. You go follow in Toland's footsteps, or floaty steps, or light steps, whatever he is now. But last one was from Wicked Jester. He said, I would like to see more of the cult-like religious practices of the sword logic implemented and explained. One of my favorite moments from D1 was going onto the Dreadnought and seeing Hive giving worship to orcs outside of his throne room right before we kick the door in. And if I remember correctly, that was before we got to what was it? The priest? The war priest, that's what it was. If we're in the actual raid. I can't remember if there was
I don't think you
worshippers
can. I
outside of
don't.
Regicide. Was there
Mm,
some?
not
Because you
that.
had the weird waterfall where that was going backwards.
Yeah, there was. Well, there might have been some hive on that ledge, but they weren't worshiping in the same way that they were at the because that was the totem room, right? Wasn't that the
Mm-hmm.
split
Mhm.
totems?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I think that was before the war priest because you beat it and that wall came down and then you went to the war
Oh
priest,
yeah.
right?
Oh
Okay.
yeah. That is the
Mhm.
door to the War Priest room. I was just trying to remember if during Regicide if we saw him too. Because Regicide is the mission you do during the normal campaign
Yeah.
before you do the raid. Also, yes, I will do that. But that is pretty much the main questions for this week from the community, or the main answers. I wanted to throw it out to you two, though, Blue and Jopa. Is there something from lore that you want to see them, or the Hive mythology in particular, that you want to see them bring back for Shadowkeep? Jopa, do you want to go first?
Um, let's see. I was thinking a little bit about, and I think the places I've really been interested in is the relationship between the hive gods, the various hive gods, as far
Mm-hmm.
as the crossover,
Right.
and um, I think they could, especially with now Savathun and everyone going forward. I would love to see a little bit more push and pull between them instead of just us taking on an individual uh, hive champion, worm god, whatever it may be. Just have
Right.
that interaction so we see a little strife between the hive itself instead of just having a single focus of an enemy.
See them kind of that infighting type thing going on, or
Mhm. Yeah, just so we can. I would love to see the hierarchy and like the power struggle a little bit closer to the Guardians instead of just what we've heard about in the lore. You know.
yeah, I get you. Blue, is there something that you'd like to see?
Yes. I don't think it's more. Well, it would. I guess it would be kind of a return. I'm really curious about the kind of similar to Jopa is like the hierarchy, but I'm more concerned. I'm not concerned, but I would be more interested in seeing. Excuse me. I'd be more interested in seeing a development on Zivu because we've had a significant development on Oryx and we've had a fair
And
amount on
Savathun.
Savathun. And with Savathun's introduction, we had a alternate take on how to feed the worm, right? The nature of
Mm-hmm.
Imbaru as opposed to the nature of the sword logic, which we're going to get into that a little bit, obvious here later. But I'm curious. I'm very curious about. So we now have these alternate paths that are taken by the Ascendant or the Hive siblings, which kind of lays the path or lays the groundwork for Zivu to also have her own version of it.
Right.
And we know Zivu is much more focused on the strength and the war, as that's kind of her spheres of influence, if you will. But then on top of that, we have a fourth imagining of the power with Nokris and Zol. Which again we'll get into because I know Chad actually talked about this a little bit as well because there's a very interesting dichotomy going on with the Hive in their view of I guess the simplest term would be the afterlife
Mm-hmm.
because Nokris and Zol are into a form of it that we also saw in Forsaken that would be more aligned with the necromancy piece,
Right.
whereas the Ascendant Hive in effect are achieving the same event, but the cause of that effect is often very different. So there's that. Doom actually just brought up another one. We haven't heard anything about Tau ever since the very
Or
beginning of the
Teox, if you're reading
Teox,
it.
right?
Yeah.
Whatever.
I
Um,
think Tau is probably the more proper way of saying it, but it's Taox, and we
depending on how much attention I'm paying, I might say it, but I probably would say it both ways. So whatever.
right.
But yeah, Teox, Tau, whoever, whatever. The basically the foster mother who betrayed the siblings, who ultimately set into motion this whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
The last we heard, she was in a cryopod. And so technically that is a loose thread that could be plucked as well.
I
You
mean,
know,
Eris unleashed something.
right. And
We saw that in
now,
the Vidoc.
right. And the challenge there would be is that similar to Nokris, you know, what side does Teox or Tau take? You know, we know that she is opposed to the siblings. So is it an enemy of my enemy becomes my friend? You know, there's a lot of paths that
A
can go down
Mithrax
that way.
situation.
Exactly, yeah, and I mean, right. I mean, and with Mithrax and Varix being in the game now and becoming much more integral to the story, you know, especially with the whole truth entries and stuff like that, the truth quest. You know, the idea of finding allies in these NPC races is something that has, you know, it's a bridge that has been brought up. So it
Right.
would make sense, you know, the Fallen, we have an ally. The Vex and the Hive, I mean, and the Cabal technically, I mean,
Yeah,
if
we
you
do.
really, we kind of want, I mean, yeah, I was going to say, we kind of have it. I mean, I hesitate to call Callus an ally, but we have a neutral
An
party.
easy alliance.
Right. We have
Ish.
an alliance of sorts. So the only two right now out there are the Vex and the Hive. Now the Vex, you know, we know that Shadowkeep is going to focus on the Hive. So I've kind of turned
Well,
my part of
yeah.
Vex mentality off on that front, but
It is to an extent, but we also see Skolas like brought back in the trailer and everything like that. So there's going to be a return to so many old stories and old enemies that we thought we killed, essentially, that are been brought back. My big thing that I want to learn more about, I want to see if they're going to dive more into the Americantignium story, that whole
well, and
giant war that
there's
happened on the, because there's a lot of dead guardians up there.
there's that one. There's what I call the alien birthing chamber that we're apparently going to be seeing more of.
Hmm.
Which, if for those of you who don't understand that inside joke, that's Oceans Ghost Fragment Oceans 2, I believe, is the one. It's from arguably during the Golden Age or following or in the collapse, where one of the scientists stumbles upon the chamber of bones, basically, and it's basically described as infant worms, which I take as face huggers. But anyways, I mean, I read that card and all I can see is the birthing chambers from Aliens. Yeah, I'm dead serious. Like all I see is the little eggs with a little bloop, and it's like, nope, get out, get out, get out. You're in a bad place. But so you have that one. You have the whole. I mean, Luna's Howl. You still have that kind of floating around. You have Fenchurch and the thrall with the onyx thing that we still don't. I mean, there's a lot of loose threads around the moon, to be fair.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, not
It'll be fun
mentioning
to
the
see.
fact that is the moon native. You know,
Moon is
that big.
haunted.
Well,
Oh no.
because the Hive are known for war moons. So the question then also becomes: is the moon even? You know, there is a very slim chance that they might go that path too. So, you know, there's a lot of loose threads that I know, and I know that we have been given hints that there are some tiebacks to the Shadows of Yore. So
That was something that, I mean, the Rezel Azir story with the shadows, everything starting on the moon and whatnot, that would be interesting. Scary.
I will say that the episode with John where we were talking about in game, he made a couple comments that I really encourage people to go listen to. I think Shadowkeep's story is going to be very, very significant in development of the dichotomy of the dark and the light.
It's gonna be dark. It's a psychological thriller, is what they're talking about. But that brings us to one last announcement before we go into Lost Lore. Blue has been updating the Focus Fire Chat store, and one of the designs that is in there, I know I've seen some of you guys kind of show it off on Twitter and whatnot, is the 2019 Focus Fire Chat Guardian Con shirt. And it is the shirt that has Blue, myself, and Beard's likeness on it, our Guardian's likeness with Focus Fire Chat on the front. It is a very simple, straightforward kind of shirt. If you guys want to go check it out, there also are some updates on other shirts that are in the store. And that is as Teespring is where we're at. I'm trying to remember
it's all
where
linked.
we're at.
It's all linked to the lorenetwork.com, and also I have finally managed to activate the extension on Twitch. So if you guys ever join us for a live stream on either one of the episodes or the Let's Chat, there is an extension in there. I believe the extension will stay live even if we're offline on Twitch. So if you want, you can go there.
If not, you could see it in the little descriptions below on our channel.
Right. Yeah, I think that's the part that will stay up. And then also we do have a couple commands in Discord as well. So I mean, we can get you the links pretty quickly.
The other thing is I'm getting some suggestions, and I am watching chat. I'm getting suggestions for other shirt ideas, and I will keep an eye on those and start designing those out. Or if there's anybody in our listener audience who has a burning desire for content creation and would like to design them.
Yeah, we definitely will be open to it. I'll chat with you. I'll chat with people if they want to create shirts, and I mean, I'm more than open to, we'll figure out what we can do. Cause I mean, I'm not going to take it from you. I'll definitely work with people if they want to get some kickback from that. I'm more than happy to.
Shirt.
We also do have stickers now. So that's another thing that we added on there. Teespring just started doing that. I'm trying to figure out how to get pins because everyone knows how much I love pins. Not Pins, the moderator. I like him too, but the actual push
PINS.
Yeah. So yeah, if you haven't visited the Teespring store, there's functions on there.
Yeah, stuff like pay and confirmed or pay and denied.
Yes,
and
get in on the debate. Make
Which team are you
pins
on?
happy.
Make Green upset. Anyway, we should jump into Lost Lore and get into the main part of the episode.
But yeah, okay, so, I mean, like Green said, we're going to run through some standard intro notes real quick, and then we'll get right into the Lost Lore. And this week for the Lost Lore, actually, I'm going to largely defer to one of the amazing articles over on Ishtar Collective. And this is a discussion on the Hive language, which is actually really, really closely aligned with what we're going to be talking about tonight with the whole mythology, because mythology is largely, obviously concerned with the traditions and the practices of different theologies and stuff like that. And obviously a lot of that is going to be around keeping of the records. So we have a ghost scan, and this is a ghost scan that is mentioned in the article as well, from the Festering Halls on Titan, and it's our ghost, and they say, Hive runes draw their power from a different dimension, where there's no difference between a word and its meaning. When the Hive erode the barrier between our dimension and theirs, the rune for death brings literal death. And so basically, and I believe this was, I want to say, I'm going to probably mispronounce it, but I believe it's Kokabel. Is that correct? Is that the correct pronunciation for her username?
That's what it looks like to me.
Kokabel did an amazing job in breaking down basically everything that we kind of can find on the language or the written language. And the important thing here about Hive runes, and I would emphasize that they are runes, they are not necessarily letters. They're really, and she kind of makes the point, the closest that we could get to them is Egyptian hieroglyphs. It's a communicate or a recording device or recording pattern that is referred to as logographic. And logographics are basically, they don't stand for letters. They stand for ideas or thoughts. And so when you look at Hive runes, that's something that's really important to remember, is that you're not going to read it like the Elixni language. You know, the Elixni written language that we have is kind of more similar to our own. It's kind of more phonetical. The Hive language, as far as the written communication, is much more it's much more image centered. It's very, very emotive. It depends a lot on the actual context of the whole tablet or the whole scene that is being portrayed to you. So it's very similar to the writings on cave walls, you know, and all that. And again, that's called logographics. And Cocobell does an amazing job on this errata article, which Green just linked it in chat. I will have this linked in our show notes as well, because I cannot do justice in 5-10 minutes on the detail that she breaks down. Literally breaks down everything that we kind of have to date on this, and this goes back as far as the Temple of Crota in D1. And she does an amazing job with the screenshots and kind of showing within the screenshots and of these sigils what each one makes. And we do know a couple of them, and so she uses that knowledge to then build on that and kind of explain, where all this stuff kind of goes. So I really encourage people to give that at least a glance through, because it'll give you an idea a little bit of the kind of the, not necessarily the history, but the kind of the mindset that the Hive kind of operate in. They're not going to have the granularity that we are used to in a written language. They're going to be much more arcane, almost in that, archaic in that.
In some respects, like a good example is partway down the article, she talks about how the idea for a door/treasure/chamber, the base image is the same, but for there's different variants on the image.
Mm-hmm.
That signify different aspects, which is really interesting when you break it down, because it's more like, in my mind, it reminds me of the I'm trying to think, is it Greek for the word love? You have the familiar love, the brotherly love, and stuff like that. It's 3 different words that all technically are the word love, but there's variants.
Just blanked.
I can't remember them either off the top of my head, but the variants that you see in the Hive language.
Oh, agape, philia, and eros.
Yes.
And I think Storge, I believe, is the other one.
Yeah, that one's the less known one,
Mm-hmm.
but those first 3 are very common.
I think there's actually 7, if I'm remembering. But yeah. Agape, philia, and eros are the very common 3.
Mm-hmm. It is interesting to see how it is modified in various ways on different types of items. It's really fascinating to see that. I'm curious whether or not the artist himself came up with this, that designed this, because Destiny has very high level imagery when it comes to the meanings behind their images. So I'm curious whether or not it's an artist design, or if it's a lore design that got translated into artistry, like where it's coming from, because it is really well fleshed out for what they're being used for. Obviously, we do not have a complete alphabet or complete listing of all the different Hive things, because we only interact with part of their culture, but they also don't write a ton of stuff down either. Anyway.
Yeah, I think it would be, I think it's the codex, I believe, is the best term for it. Because with hieroglyphics and logographics and stuff like that, it's not so much the alphabet. Again, it's basically like a Rosetta Stone for it, because each of these sigils mean, and each of the sigil also, you can have the same sigil in a different context that means a different thing. So that's where, like, I know she uses the from D1 the what were they? The runes for the reciprocal, stolen, and antiquated. The combinations of those runes, or those sigils on those runes for the Court of Oryx, that was used to summon different ascendant hive to do combat and to basically worship or oryx. That's an example that she uses. The context did completely changes how those things operate within there. So again, it's a really interesting thing, and it kind of, I mean, like I said, it ties really really well into the entire concept of the Hive mythology. And I know I actually did manage to get a map together with this one.
Yes. Mind
Oh,
maps for the wind.
really quick, yeah, I just saw this in chat. Dancing Veru, he makes a comment about how it's interesting to see how the Scorn lay out the Elixni symbols like hive runes. And that's kind of, it makes a little bit of sense because you also, of the Scorn, you have Scorn barons such as the Mindbender, who was very closely a follower of the concept of the hive and the ascendant realms and stuff like that. You also have a few others that kind of deal with similar concepts that you see in both those races. So the similarity I find might be more intentional than accidental, I think, is my personal opinion on that front. But yeah, so going back, we actually have over the years, we have talked about the concept of the mythology of the hive, and it's kind of a testament to the evolution of the story as well, because I think the first time we really mentioned it was all the way back in episode 5 in one of our first conversations of the Books of Sorrow. And so that was episodes 5, 6, and 7, where the Books of Sorrow were our first dive into those. We have a number of different conversations about Crota and, Crota's fire team, the raid. And then we kind of got into King's Fall because that was a huge expose, I guess. Yeah, expose of the mythology piece, because the whole King's Fall, the whole of the King's Fall raid was based around the logic of the mythology. It was based around the sword logic and how that operates within the realm of the Dreadnought, and how Guardians took that mythology and used it to defeat Oryx. And then, later on, we actually had an episode specifically about sword logic. And then we went into the Books of Sorrow again with the Hive siblings. We've done a couple episodes on the Worm Gods, just simply because they keep getting more and more information, brought forth about them, especially with Warmind, and with Zol. And that's kind of a really long list of episodes in which we kind of piece together different various aspects of it. But Green, if I were to say, do you know a quick way to summarize mythology for the Hive, what would you say would be the best way to kind of simplify it down to very, very oversimplify it?
Very oversimplified mythology of the Hive. A Faustian deal was met between the worm gods and 3 siblings. Those 3 siblings became a lot of what rule over the hive, the different heads of their, you can call them households. Oryx, Zivu Arath, and Zavathun. From there, we have different descendants and hands and charges underneath them that work to further their masters or further the head of the households. I'm very much so getting a Game of Thrones talk in my head at the moment. Very much so through the development and furthering the head's causes, whether it's getting more light fed through them through Duel and Karu, or doing it the way that Oryx did with trying to take out Guardians and whatnot, and ending up taking out the majority of the Awoken fleet. We haven't seen Zivu Arath so much yet, which obviously we're kind of hoping for a little bit with Shadowkeep, but the Faustian deal that it's ongoing in multiple ways and it's ever developing. That is the easiest, most basic way I could say that there are a lot of connections of a traditional family tree type thing, but there's also you've got these quote unquote gods over the top of them.
Yeah, and I like actually what you said about the siblings being kind of the houses, because an easy way to kind of look at like the hierarchy, I guess if you want to call it, of the Hive pantheon, at the very top you have the deep, or the darkness basically. Arguably, this is where we have a mention of the formless one. We don't really have a strong connection, but it kind of seems implied that that's the darkness. Then below that we have really the worm gods. The worm gods are in them themselves kind of, they're not necessarily in the sense of a traditional pantheon gods, but they would be like the deep would be kind of more if we're going to kind of go with a Roman-esque type concept, the deep is going to be the hierarchy of like Jupiter or Zeus. Below them are the other lesser gods. They're still gods in the sense of this pantheon. But then below them are the siblings. And I like what I was going to go with is I like how you said houses, because really, honestly, the siblings are very akin to the Roman concept of a house god. They are still gods in the light of the average hive, but they are below in the hierarchy of the worm gods. And then below them, you kind of have what we would refer to as like the major ascendant hive. These are going to be kind of the demigods, the Heracles and the Achilles of the hive world. And then you have regular ascendants, and these ascendants are going to be kind of the vassals of the major ascendants. So they in the pecking order, they defer to those. Major ascendants would be like the spawn of Oryx, which would be Crota, Nokris, Iranak, and Irahalak. Those are going to be major ascendants. Whereas with your regular ascendants, you're going to have like Thalnok, who is one of the fanatics, the fanatic of Crota that we see in the court of Oryx. The Swarm Princes, which we saw back in D1. Those are going to be the regular ascendants. And then below that, you're going to have kind of just what's referred to usually as the broods. And the broods are really kind of just exactly that. They're just general foot soldiers of the army of the hive. The thing to remember too is that like the hive is very focused on the concept of this war between the deep and the sky. They are on a holy crusade. Even within the Books of Sorrow, it is described as a crusade against anyone who would refuse to bend a knee to the sword logic. And that's been that way since the very beginning, when the Hive siblings made the bargain with Yule and with the other worm gods. Now, the other thing to keep in mind is that the Swarm Princes introduced the idea that it's not just Yule's worms or it's not just Yule's spawn that is being replicated, I guess, into the hive. All of the worm gods, save Akka, really, have a Swarm Prince dedicated to them, which kind of gives us the idea that there are broods or spawn of all worm gods. And that's the other thing with the hive, right? Part of this mythology is dealing with the actual literal infestation of their personhood by a worm. Every single hive has a worm within them, and every single hive is basically from inception dedicated to feeding that worm.
Should we talk about the start of that inception with the story from Books of Sorrow?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's an important thing, and that kind of goes into that Faustian bargain that
Right.
you were talking about. Do you want to?
I was going to have Jopa do it. Do you want to
Oh,
talk
okay,
about
yeah.
the inception of the very first infestation, essentially?
I can take off part of it. I don't know as well as you guys do. Kind of that origin. I know a little bit more the generalities.
Sure.
the idea that the Hive were reaching for more in essence, and then when they were offered the worms, that they kind of reached for those in a way that I think brought them more than they bargained for, obviously. But at the same time, also enriched them in a way, like kind of developed them as an entire species from kind of a base level to this. I mean, obviously, we see with Oryx and those kind of leaders that they've developed far beyond anything they would have been capable of otherwise.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's kind of like you said, the Faustian bargain of starting off at a very base. I don't know how to describe it, but kind of general level, and evolving with some help,
right,
into much more.
It's I'm trying to remember how many years they lived prior at when they were just krill.
10.
Yeah.
But was it 10?
Yeah. The debate still is that Earth years or fundament years, but yeah.
Right. So there was that very young or small amount of time as far as number goes, and then the mothers, the brood mothers and whatnot would live a little bit longer, but
they live much longer. So that's mothers have the wings and they live much longer, because they're the wizard squad.
But once they took on the worm, like you were saying, they extended their life because if they were able to feed the worm were able to grant them longevity, among other things. And through that forced evolution, they were able to develop these vast empires, essentially their own. Now, granted, it is not an empire like the Cabal, where it is subjects. It is literally descendants that are fighting for you.
It's forced. Yeah,
houses,
legato in chat is forced evolution.
But there's the grouping of all the different worm gods. We don't have it on the map, but there's Yule, the honest worm, Akka, the keeper of secrets, the keeper of order, or Eir, E-I-R, the keeper of order, you are the ever hunger, Zol, the will of thousands. So we've quote unquote met Zol, whether or not we actually met Zol, but we've dealt with Zol. Akka is the dreadnought at this point, right? Am I remembering that one correctly? It's not Yule.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Akka was scrimshawed into the dreadnought.
Oh, I think muted. But Akka, I believe, is the dreadnought, and then Yule is one of the other more well-known. We haven't really heard much from him since Dark Below, but that is one of the more powerful ones. I cannot hear you, Blue.
Oh, that's interesting.
Pausing podcast.
Yeah, hang on.
Blue has some audio technical difficulties.
Weird. So it's lighting up on my screen.
Chat can hear us.
Chat, can you hear Pins or whoever?
If you can hear me, please let me know. Right. You can hear Blue? Okay, that's weird. Wonder why I cannot hear Blue.
I can hear him just fine.
Oh, I wonder. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, I can hear him, so.
Yay! I'm not alone!
This is what I get for trying something new.
What did you try? Oh, did you...
Cool. I know what it is. I will fix it in a moment.
Yay!
I'm tangling a different headset.
Her headset doesn't like me, apparently. Do. Let's see. Works to. Yeah. Doom. The Descendants hierarchy. Just real quick while we're waiting for Green to get her headset. The Descendants. I kind of broke that out in the Black Flag. I broke out
There
the
we go.
hierarchy of the Ascendant Hive within the map a little bit. That's where, like, when I say major Ascendant, I kind of mean the descendants of the siblings. I kind of included the War Priest in there because the War Priest is kind of a little bit up there. But mostly the major Ascendant Hive I would refer to as the descendants. So that would be Crota, Nokris, Iranuk, Irhalak, Dueling Karu, and the War Priest. I can't remember. I had one other one. Hang on. No, that was it. So yeah, and then within the regular Ascendant Hive, that's where I would say the Swarm Princes, the various generals of Crota, Moloch, Iriut, the Death Singers, Omnigul, which is another general of Crota, Lokar, Kagur, most of the hive that we fought within the Court of Oryx, that's where the Ascendant Hives would be followed in. And then below that is really the spawn or the broods. Isn't the only time we've encountered? I'm not sure. I'm not sure on that one. Oh, that's not fun. Black Hole, yep. You mean the Darkblade? Is it Tlern?
Yeah. Okay, I am back.
Okay, cool. Follows over. Alak was Alakul was a adopted son of Oryx. I mean, arguably you could describe him as a major ascendant, but the problem with Alak was that he betrayed Oryx, and that's why he was put into, I can never remember, but basically he was turned into the Chitin room.
Oh, the room of the cursed thrall all the time.
Yeah, I can't the one that you had to do the superpower, the sunless cell. Thank you, the sword nightmare. Hey, let's do the void sword. Ow, poopers. All right, so to kind of go back into where we were saying, you were saying Akka. Yes, Akka was scrimshawed into the dreadnought. So yes, it's not the other one. It's Akka is the one that got because Akka was the one that Oryx went into the deep and challenged, and then, which I love the fact that they describe it as being scrimshawed, because again, and we kind of mentioned this when we were talking about it originally, but the process of scrimshawing is you take a small bone. So if he scrimshawed Akka into a dreadnought, that's the kind of a hint of how large Akka actually was.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we would have been multitudes times bigger than
right. Yeah. Because I mean,
what we've seen of Zal.
Well, and that's kind of going back into Toland's quote about, "Oh, you think you killed a worm god? Ha ha ha!" Like, which I love that quote. But the other thing is, like, with the concept of scrimshawing is, it's taking a small bone and carving it, which is exactly what he did. He carved the dreadnought into it.
Here's something I want to know. We've seen kind of evolution of Hive and the different broods and the different beings within that, Nokris being a really good example. Mm-hmm. Why not have the Hive worm gods evolve? Why not have them multiply or have
the worm gods
with power? Yeah. Because if what we fought on Mars was not actually Zol, or maybe it was just a figment,
an avatar,
like an avatar of Zol and not actually Zol. I mean, there's different
So
different ways. If because
yeah, and I think
something
so.
we've always heard, sorry, something we've always had in Destiny is that those who prescribe themselves as gods are just as easily defeated as anyone else. They may have paracausal powers or may have things, but they're not. The idea of an absolute omniscient god is not present per se
Mhm. Yeah, and I
because
think
everything is defeatable.
this ties into one of the things that I kind of refer to as one of the hypocrisies of the worm gods. Um, there's this underlying cause of like this abomination that is the hive. You see it. I attribute it very similar to the way that society views like the vampire mythos.
Mhm.
The hive are very vampiric in the descriptions and in their presentation. They are very vampiric. They literally will siphon light out of things, which is very akin to the Eastern definition of a vampire, where they will actually consume spiritual energy, not necessarily blood. And even actually Western mythos of vampires, the reason they consume blood is because in the Western culture, blood was viewed as the life-giving essence. It's not so much the blood; it's actually the soul of the life. And so when you kind of look at it that way, the worms are akin to a very akin to a Dracula-esque presentation. Dracula was an abnormality, and I mean Carmilla was as well. You know, Carmilla came before Dracula in the mythological hierarchy here, but like the thing that was so abnormal about vampires was, first off, yes, they consumed other things. It was consumption, but also they didn't change. They were stuck as they were,
Okay.
which in the natural progression of entropy and the natural progression of aging and just natural life, that is in and of itself an abnormal event, which is where the unease about them kind of came from. Is they didn't change over centuries, over millennia. They always stayed consistently the same,
They're
and
Edward
that's
Cullen.
I gonna pretend you didn't say that, because that is a atrocious use of the
I know,
sociological
but
use of
it
vampire
is
mythos.
it is the
But
biggest pop culture thing
I
still as
mean,
far
it
as vampire,
is.
besides the
I
Anne
mean,
Rice books, which are way
which are
better.
well, and I'm trying to not go down the tangent, 'cause that was actually my thesis, was the sociological significance of the vampire mythos
Mm-hmm.
within thanatological essences of those cultures. And so you can see like there's a very very fascinating trend shift between Carmilla, Dracula, and then Anne Rice, and now the atrocity that is Twilight. Um,
Mm-hmm.
there's a very interesting underlying shift in that as well. Um, and so yeah, but the idea is that they are powerful in and of themselves, but they don't actually change shape. And the other thing to remember with the worm gods is that's assuming that the worm gods are bound by the same laws that the hive are, which I would strongly argue they're not. They have imprisoned the hive, which is where I kind of go back into the hypocrisy. Is
Mm-hmm.
one of the biggest parts of their hypocrisy is that they claim to have freed the hive while they actually are enslaving them. And it's similar in the way that they refer to the traveler as a cosmic parasite in the Books of Sorrow. In the same breath, they are literally infesting the hive. They are parasites inside the hive, or the
Mm-hmm.
krill at that point. But it's just, to me, it's a very hypocritical statement for them to be like, oh, that cosmic parasite, blah blah blah. Which I'm like, okay, sure, we can take that on the surface as that might be the case, but you are the exact same. You are in the same vein here. You also see that with their concept of, kind of to bring it back into the mythology of the hive, the obsession with the final shape is a huge hypocritical point. that this Faustian bargain really drives home, because the final shape is described, and this is a quote from the Books of Sorrow. They call it the fire without fuel, burning forever, killing death, asking a question that is its own answer entirely itself. And the concept is that there's going to be this final shape that, once you get done carving away the unworthy, it will be the only thing left. It will be the perfect figure, if you will. Obviously, anyone who takes more than about 10 seconds to stop and think about that can see the problem there. You have 5 worm gods. That's not one. You have 5. And then you have millions of hive. And so, even with the siblings, you have 3 siblings. And there's not going to be a final shape implies that there is going to be a single one.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's exactly kind of where I'm kind of going with that is they're setting they're setting the hive up to fail is ultimately what's happening. Now you see that within the Touch of Malice with Oryx. Oryx kind of weasels logically around that by saying that, using the Touch of Malice, he will become immortal. It's a fancy way of saying, even though I'm dead, I'm not dead, because the memory of me will live on.
Right. It's like the touch the tides of history with
an
event type thing.
But doesn't the fact that they've kind of been paired against each other, not head to head, but like they're always striving for more and like to find the difference between each other, isn't that telling you that it's kind of leading towards a singularity at some point? Like that's ultimately the goal.
Yeah, and
the sword logic aspect
I would argue it's very similar. You can to kind of tie it back into our own history, right? You can see that with the development of the Roman Empire. The way that the early Roman Empire, or the Roman Republic really, was orchestrated and was designed was basically the best of the best always were infighting with each other, right? They were constantly, it was steel sharpening steel, if you will. And the problem with that is that there is a point at which that model will just reach critical mass. You will possibly create a massive empire that is one of the greatest in the history of the existence of your people, sure, but everything it's that natural order, right? Everything will come, it will rise, but it will also fall. And so the thing here, and chat's talking about this too, is in that failure, right? The worm gods are setting themselves up to succeed. The worm gods are setting themselves up to win. Regardless of the hive win, the hive aren't going to win.
Well, point though, because they're symbiotic.
The worm gods aren't symbiotic.
But the worms themselves.
The worms themselves are, but the worm gods, Yule itself, Yule is not dependent necessarily on Oryx being there. Yule will take the offerings of that tribute, and they will become strong from that tribute. But Yule is not like there is not a true dual symbiosis between Yule and like Yule itself. Yule, the honest worm, is not dependent on Oryx, the Taken King, being around. He benefits from that, but he is not dependent on that. Now, Oryx's worm, which is a spawn of Yule, that is a true, that's arguably a more symbiotic parasite. But yeah, Vuru brings up in chat too, even within the worm gods, there is a lot of fighting, because that's the entire reason Zol allies himself with Nokris, is because Zol is paranoid of Yule. Yule or Zol is convinced that Yule is going to eat him.
There's sword logic in some respects, even at that level.
Well, and I mean, if you see the idea of the final shape being the actual end goal, that of course, I mean, that makes sense. You're the uneasy truths between the 5 And then, you know, and that also begs the question of, I believe it's Ear who is constantly trying to eat the hive. I want to say, no, Ur is the one that always tries to eat them. Like, Ur is the reason that, I might be confusing. One of them is the reason that ogres exist.
Oh,
And
right.
and they created ogres specifically to eat the hive. Like, that's what they created. And then Ear actually taught them how to subject the ogres, and that's where the summoning pits kind of come in. Is the summoning pits is a place that they can, taming is a bit of a strong word for that, but they can break the ogres. And that's where Golgoroth, you know, that's kind of the Golgoroth thing there. And so that's, you know, that's where you kind of, you see an infighting even within the worm gods with regards to their spawn with the hive. And so that's, again, the war between the deep and the sky, you know, it's even more granular, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
Do we want to talk?
Oh, go for it.
Sorry. Do we want to talk a little bit about we're talking about the mythology of the hive themselves, the pantheon, and the structure of how the worm gods interact and everything. But there's 2 points that I want to bring up. One, all the mythology that we have on the worm gods themselves, the majority of it comes from the books of sorrow, which there's that one stinking line in the book about how it's basically filled with lies and whatnot. So
which, I mean,
yeah.
The thing is the Book of Sorrows, I'm going to try to not get myself in trouble with this. It's like any religious text.
History books are by the victors.
Well, it's that, and it's also propaganda for Oryx. And
that's what I was going to say is it's promoting what they want the universe to see them as, not necessarily what the full truth is.
Right. And you see that with Nokris, right? I mean, Nokris betray. I mean, that's where what's the beetle head, the worm husk or whatever, whatever it is that you get when you kill Zol, or
it's
air quote Zol. The 3 helmets that you get for each of the classes explain the story of Nokris allying himself with Zol. And, you know, again, just what Jopa just said. Obviously, it's going to be biased because it's Nokris writing this, but you see it also being presented as this was Nokris being erased from the Hive's history. So right there, you already, that's not even the Books of Sorrow. That's the world's grave. That's their history of everything that is them. And Oryx is censoring that information. You know, it's again kind of exactly what you chat, praise be to Oryx.
Oh my goodness.
But I mean, right, it's the combination of a history book and a religious text. You know, and you're going to it's not going to be unbiased, which is you know, thing. But I mean, I love how, and Veru just kind of brought that up in chat too. I love how much kind of distrust blossomed with the Truth to Power series, or the Truth to Power book, whereas technically speaking, you can say the same critiques about the Books of Sorrow.
Well, I mean, we're experiencing it again with Callus's book.
Right. And I mean, but and Callus's book is even more, you know, obvious because at least they give the header of, hey, this is a fan fiction to please Callus. Now, granted, it also helps out of character that these are all written mostly by the same individual. Huge shout out to Seth for just that. I mean, that's the thing too. Out of character. I mean, trying not to let that bias the reading as well. But
Right.
that is also something that seems to be a common theme with those. And so, again, I love that about these books, but you can't critique one and not critique the other with the same critique. It's just my point there. They're all propaganda. Some of them are just a little bit more heavy-handed.
Yeah.
Right. So the second thing I wanted to bring up is so much of the Hive mythology that we have ties into so much of our own interactions with the Hive, various people, various groups, because we have the Crotofire team, we have Toland, we have Eris Morn and Ikora, Rezalazir and the Shadows. Um, there's a lot of different stories that we have that technically are not part of the Hive's their own mythology. Like it's not something that they would include in probably in their own mythology, but it's part of our mythology tied to them. Do we want to address some of those stories a little bit more, or
I think it's important to address them because in the same way that the Hive have a bias in presenting their own information, that bias can be used to kind of pull the pendulum back a bit, if you will. Especially with, if you blend, this is kind of difficult because even within those names that you have, there are very strong biases there. Toland.
Right.
Toland is obsessed with knowledge as power. Like he's not really looking to do anything arguably at the moment that we know of beneficial other than to himself. Whereas Ikora and Eris, they are also obsessed with knowledge, but the insight that they are searching is for defense against the Hive. And then Rezal. And Rezal, it's tough because Rezal kind of was following in Toland's path, if you will. I'm not making a comment on
not
whether
consciously? They're
well,
not.
I'm also not even going to comment on where the timeline works on that because to be honest, I'm not sure where the timeline works with them. But in the same vein as Toland, Rezal kind of fell that way. But then the Shadows, with what we have found so far, I don't feel like I need to do spoiler warning there, but with what we've discovered about the Shadows, they took the information that Rezal had gotten, and pretty much they are the equivalent of Ikora and Eris with that information. It's this weird. You kind of have the dichotomy that exists between all of them, there as well. But I think together they do a good job of counteracting some of the bias that we see in the Books of Sorrow. The Books of Sorrow is good from giving us a rough idea of the history. But as far as like the mythological or the even the sociological aspect of the Hive, I think the analysis of the warriors who have fought and who have researched the Hive also have a valid point to kind of counteract that bias as well, if that makes sense.
Well, I think it's just more touchable as far as because it's so recent and so close to the Guardians. Like everything
I
kind
would
of
agree.
feels more tangible almost as far as the knowledge that we gain from them, because it's not so far removed that it's been passed down and it's been modified. It's like, yes, these individuals may have biases, but they're also coming right from the source in a far more recent time frame than what we're getting from the books of sorrow.
Yeah,
I think that's where that makes it maybe not more relevant, but it makes it easier to clarify some of the information we might know from what we get from the Hive there.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. I think it makes it a lot easier to verify, I think would be the way I would look at it. It's much more verifiable whether or not someone is being biased in their approach than, Oryx, which is like, oh yeah, well, 4 trillion years ago, this was what's happening. I'm like, well, that's out of my realm of experience.
Well, it's the same as history in our world.
Right.
Like you said, the Roman Empire, we know of the things that happened. However, relating to them is much more difficult than something that might have happened 30 years ago, for example. So I
Right. Oh,
think
yeah. That's an excellent example, actually. Yeah.
I think that's where the understanding that knowledge and the sources that it comes from is so huge, and that's where, like you said, religious texts that are written thousands of years ago are going to be much easier to kind of construe in 1,000 different ways than something that would be written in the current day.
Right.
And that's the same thing that you get from the Hive.
Yeah, and you also have a tendency in religious texts for layered meanings, right? Uh, religious texts tend to be written, at least human religious texts tend to be written with multiple meanings within the same verses. So you have different, you have allegorical, you have metaphorical, you have literal readings. Different things within the same story. I mean, even within the Bible, for example, that's what I'm intimately familiar with. But even within the Bible, the same passage can be read multiple ways, and that's the intent, right? That's the intent of that, is to hold a lot of meaning within those texts. And you're going to find that with any, the Quran, the works of Buddha, all of these things, they're all going to have very layered meanings. And so that's the other thing with like the books of sorrow, is if we look at them as religious texts, that makes it actually a little bit more difficult, because there's also interpretation that can be put there. And on top of that, the only reason we have the books of sorrow is because it's been translated by Eris. So there's like a double or even maybe triple layer of bias there that we also have to try to kind of take into account as well when we're dealing with that. I don't know if that
What about?
answers Green's question.
I mean, it definitely expands on it a little bit. I'm not necessarily looking for answers. I do want to have discussions, and I think that's kind of a fair direction to head on a lot of these. Um, what about necromancy? How the Hive feel about necromancy? That is something that we certainly have strong feelings about, or at least the Hive have strong feelings about.
I would say the Hive have strong feelings about, and the only reason, yeah, the only that's sigh. The only reason I made sure this is a question I have, and it's a question that I saw a lot of chatter for in the conversation this week. And I'm gonna actually quote Josh, or Chatting Myth. He had a really good, I guess, quick dirty analysis of kind of where maybe it's coming from. And Josh said, death is a sacred idea for the Hive. By killing, one proves that they are stronger than another. Thus, in that belief, they gain strength. But death, from a certain point of view, is also a gift to those who are killed. It is a release and, for the greater universe, an extinguishing of a weak entity or community. By using necromancy, Nokris himself is not growing more powerful. He is not championing death, nor gaining power through the sword logic, which is gaining power by being the one who brought upon another death. Nokris is using the strength of those weak and defeated, never himself growing or conquering, but merely surviving. So that's the end of quote. And so that's actually really in line with what I kind of am getting the sense of too, because and we kind of mentioned this at the start. The Hive have this concept called ascendance, the throne world, and most people are kind of probably at least somewhat familiar with that. And this is basically where they can hide their death, which translates into I kill you and you go into your throne world, and then you can actually remanifest in this realm. So they have a form of immortality.
Mm-hmm.
That is not necromancy. Necromancy is a concept of a non-ascendant hive, or even ascendant hive theoretically, but a non-ascendant hive having died and actually being brought back into existence outside of the natural order. Because you can argue with an ascendant hive that they never actually died. there's a piece of them that still, it remains tethered to it. Whereas necromancy there is no tether. You just rip them back into existence. And that's where you kind of get this idea of necromancy as being a abomination within regards to like the magic universe. It's always kind of looked down upon in, a lot of the fantasies. Necromancy is the black magic, the dark magic, if you want to call it that.
The ascendants, the soul of the ascendant can choose to come back, whereas necromancy, they can't. They're just yanked back.
Yeah, arguably that's where you see like and even like in some recent fantasy, there's some exploration of like, oh, you have like mediums who communicate, but that's you get into the weeds a little bit on the splitting of hair of what is necromancy and what is just it's not really astral projection, but it's kind of like that medium-esque, like communication with the dead is not necessarily necromancy. Because, yeah, exactly. Necromancy kind of implies that you don't have a choice. You're coming back.
Mm-hmm. Well, what about, I touched on earlier, the touch of malice with Oryx, right? Mm-hmm. And that's his idea of gaining immortality. Doesn't that, in essence, like, I know that's his choice, but that's still kind of going, like, he's still getting defeated in order to...
Well, and that touches on sword logic, right? Because the sword logic says that the person or the individual who's defeated, the memory of that person strengthens the victor, and as well as it sharpens the blade, because the blade remembers, right? That's where the Hive Knights that's where their swords are so dangerous, is because unlike normal swords, which dull after use, they actually get sharper after use. Mm-hmm. They become more and more and more and more powerful. And so what Oryx kind of with the touch of malice is kind of it's a weird like philosophical thing of like, I might be defeated, but you'll never defeat me, because by defeating me, you will always remember me. Mm-hmm. And you see that in a lot of warrior cultures. There's a concept of, the experience will be what gives me immortality. You see that with like the Vikings, with the concept of Valhalla. They're constantly fighting. They're constantly getting better. They're constantly strengthening their arms for Ragnarok. A lot of cultures that focus on military strength will have the concept of like similar to the sword logic. It's not as I would say rabid as the sword logic, but what Oryx kind of presents with the concept of the touch of malice, and this is where it kind of gets dicey, is the problem is that the Hive have this tendency to hide deaths. So with Oryx and the touch of malice, it's technically possible that they could use that as a way to weasel him back in. Now, that being said, there's a lot that kind of points to that not being the case, but it's just that wiggle room that exists with the Hive, because the problem here that I also have, the major problem that I have, and this is just my problem with the Books of Sorrow, is the entire concept of him killing the siblings truly before he goes to kill Akka, coming back and resurrecting them. Because
Savathun and Zivu Arath, as far as the siblings that you're talking about.
Sorry, yes, thank you. Because there is that scene in which he uses the deaths of Savathun and Zivu to augment his own power, and then he goes to the deep, kills Akka, and gains Akka's ability to take, comes back, and then through the acts of cunning and through the acts of war, brings back his siblings. Which it's like, okay, wait. Hang on. I'm like, so necromancy's bad, but what did you just do?
And that set up the whole foundation for what Oryx is and and what his siblings are.
Right. Yeah. I
Is
mean,
there
and yeah. Oh god.
is there an aspect of because technically with those three in particular, Oryx, Savathun, and Zivu-Arath, it is the definition of what they embody that brings them back. There's the idea of blanking. It's resurrection, or not resurrection.
He
When you
redefined
come,
them.
well, there's that, but I'm thinking of like a real life, the cycle where if you have good karma in one life, you come back in the next.
Reincarnation. Yeah.
Thank you, reincarnation. So, is there possibly, now we don't have any proof one way or the other on this one, but the concept of Zivu-Arath and Savathun coming back in a reincarnated state rather than a necromantic state where it's the same body coming back and the same everything, but whereas reincarnation is more they're coming back on their own thing. Yeah, go for it, Blue.
Sorry. Viru corrects me in chat. This is why I love having live chat, because they fact check me as I babble. Technically, taking was an Akka's ability. The ability to communicate with the deep was Akka's ability, and that
He learned how to
communication.
take.
Right. He took the ability to communicate with the deep directly, and then he learned how to take from the deep. So thank you, Viru, for catching me on that piece. Yeah, because like the way that he describes it is the concept of like redefine, or not redefining, but by enacting their true definition, which is kind of a similar concept to name magic, true name magic, and stuff like that.
I'm thinking kind of like the idea of the Dalai Lama.
Right,
So
the
Dalai Lama,
reincarnation of
correct.
the soul.
Because when did that play more in line with the Touch of Malice and Whisper of the Worm? Because I mean, it's reincarnated and not reincarnated, but it's kind of essence into a new form.
Well,
So
that's
that
like
would
an item of power.
it almost seemed like semantics in the way they define it, but it is them looking at it as their power transferring into a new form instead of them being brought back exactly as they were in the necromantic sense.
Right. Yeah, and I think the only difference that I would make between touch and whisper is that whisper has kind of been, this is my interpretation, so, please argue with me if you have a different one, but whisper has kind of been presented as a Trojan horse. Whisper has been presented to us as a way of Zol kind of tricking us into tithing to him through the deaths of that weapon. Whereas touch, see, I don't know, like touch, it depends. It really, there's so many options with touch that that sounds weird saying that, but that there's so many options that the Touch of Malice kind of opens, because it could be the close of the chapter, right? It could be, hey, this is Orc's memory and we're done. But it also could be, hey, in a similar fashion, we are redefining, or we're defining Oryx through the destruction of, blah, 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 even though arguably we don't have Touch of Malice anymore because Gaul liked to blow things up. Unless the Cryptarch stole it, but.
Question. And then this is getting into some serious spinfoil thing, and I don't think we've talked about it a whole lot at all. The concept that's coming up in Shadowkeep. I kind of touched on it at the beginning of the episode when we were talking about the community question of the week. Would you think that the enemies that we have coming back would be considered part of necromancy? Because they're coming back in ways that we haven't seen before, and we don't know who the big bad, the big head of it is, or if it is a group or new race. I know a lot of people are throwing around the
Veil.
word is, well, what?
The Veil.
That, yeah, isn't that the new race name?
Supposedly, yeah.
The pyramid ships.
The pyramid ships, yeah.
Which,
I
how
mean,
did they get
it's
to the moon without us seeing
yeah.
them?
There's a lot of problems with that, but I mean,
right.
Unless they're similar to the creatures in the Marvel universe, the Kree that can shapeshift.
Right. Shapeshift.
If they
or
have some
even the Nine,
kind of that form.
right? The
Yeah,
Nine are able to pop in and out too.
Yeah.
As far as like so the thing with Shadowkeep's enemies, right?
Scrolls is what I meant.
Yeah. Oh God. Oh God. That mental image does not need to. Ugh. The Skrulls from Marvel.
Yeah.
Old ladies getting punched on subways. It's not fun in movies. But she had a mean right hook. That was the thing to remember about her. No, I think the thing with the enemies for Shadowkeep, like there's two really big possibilities that come to mind for me personally. First off, so this is again doubling down on your comment about this being spinfoil, right?
Right.
The fact that they keep referring to this as a psychological event makes me really question, is the Shadowkeep actually on the moon, or are we going to be in the Netherverse or the psychomutable? Are we going to be in the Ascendant Realm?
Are we going to be drugged?
Oh God. Well, I mean that's always a possibility apparently.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is like this is similar to, I think, I don't know if you were on the conversation, Green, when Beard and I were talking about the whole thing with Callum and the scene where we find his shadow on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
There's a possibility that was in an Ascendant Realm. And if that's in the Ascendant Realm, then that is not necessarily true. It's a projection of a person's will. And each Ascendant Realm obviously will be subject to whoever created it, right? And so if you are in Shadowkeep and the Shadowkeep is a shadow of the keep on the moon, literally a shadow of a physical place, then those manifestations of our enemies are just manifestations. They are nightmares, which they've also been referred to, but they are actual just nightmares. Now, what that means is there's arguably nothing real. But this kind of goes into the Friday the 13th, right? Nightmares can kill you.
Well, the other thing is we already have that. I don't want to say psychomutable, but the concept of what Drifter's doing with the Reckoning.
Right. I mean, the Hall.
That is,
yeah.
Those are the constructs of
his mind.
Drifter. Yeah. So, granted, if it's a construct of the mind, and who's still, the thing is who is dictating it? There's going to be a character or creature that is.
What if it's us?
Do you think we're that creative? Are we going and having our own
but
nightmares?
I mean but that's the thing, right? I mean this reminds me of Oracle of Time. Ocarina of Time. Gosh, man, wow. Bleh. Ocarina of Time when you fight Dark Link. We are Raz just said it. We are our own worst enemy.
Right, which is one of the things that people are like going nuts about with the image of the quote unquote Dark Guardians.
The Dark Guardians image, yeah.
But I've seen people talk like, oh, those are like the dark side, which we've been asking for a while, for having an enemy quote unquote race that is the shadow image or the mirror image of us. Mm-hmm. But beyond that, if that's the case, if this is constructs of our own worst enemy, why aren't there Vex? Why is it only Hive and Fallen? Because I don't think there
was Cabal.
There's Scorn.
I think.
Was there Cabal? I didn't see any Hive though in the trailer.
Well, and
I saw Scorn, I think. Oh, there was Gaul came back. Gaul is one of the enemies. Mm-hmm. Skolas is one of them.
I mean,
Crota's one of them.
And this is where my pragmatic side kind of comes in. I mean, we've only seen 4 minutes, 5 minutes.
Right.
So
Right.
there's the possibility that it's there. Oh yeah, I mean, Maids is saying that there was Atheon, and
Okay. I
Veru
don't
is
remember.
making a. I don't remember all of the
Okay.
trailer. So, but my thing is like, I keep coming back to the idea that they keep focusing. Well, we also are going back to the Black Garden.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's
That's
I
the
mean,
raid.
right. I keep fixating on the fact that they keep referring to things as psychological horror, nightmares,
Right.
shadows, all this concept, and I'm like, I just, to me, that screams the entirety of, I mean, and they've kind of doubled down on that with the Dreaming City, the Hall, even Callus has his own nightmare realm. There's
Mm-hmm.
all these psychological realms that are around us, and we know that the moon is a keyhole. The moon is riddled with keyholes into ascendant realms, because
Right.
that was what Crota's end was us jumping through a keyhole. And then, I mean, then there's also the mission where we have to go and we sneak into an ascendant realm to get Crota's soul. And so there's, the moon is kind of a locus, if you will, of these different realms, it seems. And so to me, even the name makes me think, I mean, I'll be honest, I keep on seeing the Upside Down
Okay.
Yeah.
with the images that they've shown us. That's just personally, that's where my head is.
I see Mordor, but that's just because of
Well,
the freaking
right, but I
wall
mean,
and the tower.
Yeah.
technically, it's kind of, I mean, it's a similar concept, right? I mean, well, I guess it depends on which version of Mordor you're in, but
Right.
like, even there, you also have, I mean, going down the Tolkien route there too. I mean, the One Ring has a similar concept, right? Chat, yay, we get Christmas lights. Sorry, that made me laugh.
Well, I mean, I think it's true. Like, but I also think we've seen with like the Vex simulations, they could go in so many directions with this.
Right,
Um,
right.
that it's they're teasing a lot of things, but I would imagine that some of them are misleading on purpose to catch
Yeah,
us off
red
guard
herrings.
once we get into Shadowkeep. So that's where I would like I do like the speculation, but because of the um what we've seen so far, I think is going to be deeper than what we've seen in the past with where they go. Like with the psychological, we haven't seen anything like that. We've seen Sunless Cell as a mission was dark and everything, but we haven't seen them tie an entire expansion into the mental side of things, and that's where I think, like to your point, if it's not a Shadow Realm where we are directly involved, it could be just a projection that someone else is putting into there, and so that wouldn't surprise me if somebody, if the big bad is not necessarily a hive ultimately. If
Mm-hmm.
it's somebody who relates to us on a more personal level as guardians.
It's Eris's nightmare. No, God, I hope not Blue. Blue just typed into chat, it's Curia, and I'm like, I am going to slap somebody if it's Curia. I'm so okay.
But I mean, to be
Every time that a
fair,
new DLC area.
I mean, what other race has a substance that's integral to them that causes hallucinations?
Mm-hmm.
Right. I mean,
The other thing,
I'm just putting it out there.
right?
It is
Spin foiling,
possible.
spin foiling some more. One of the lines in the trailer has to do with Eris and the fact that she released something, or she,
Right.
I can't remember the exact verbiage that they used, but Eris is the trigger in some respects. Yeah, I know. Teox is another one that I had a discussion with somebody earlier about that it could be Teox or Tau.
Yeah, Tau.
Is it?
Yeah, because I think the comment was something about like, and I don't think it was in the trailer. I think it was one of the interviews. They said that
Mhm.
you're going to be basically tasked with helping Eris figure out what she unleashed
That's what it
and
was.
fixing it. Basically, I want to say it was like it was one of the E3 interviews. I think. But yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, there was that kind of comment there as well.
Right. There are so many threads, so many things, and I'm hoping we did get some more trickles of information out thanks to Bungie's stream that they did the other day with Guardian Con or with the St. Jude marathon.
I know that they
Because of
showed the weapons, right? The two guns.
yes,
Yep.
yes, the weapons with Eris's coins attached to them. I'm
Yeah,
curious
and the
to
feathers.
dive. Yeah, I want to dive more into some of that as far as like the lore implications, the cultural implications of what those may be. Because we've always talked about how Drifter is wearing literally funeral garb. What's going on with Eris? I want to know her side of it too. So I'm sure we're going to keep getting more information as time goes on with that.
Yeah, and Eris, I'm so this is me just kind of fangirling a little bit because I'm really
Morla?
hoping. Well, obviously, but more so because the concept art of Eris has her with a rope dart as a
Mhm.
weapon, and that was one of her early iterations. Was instead of a rock, she had a rope dart. That was the
Concept
basically
art, yeah.
the concept art, and I just keep having this image of like her coming back with something like that. I think that would just be really cool. Just seeing
Mhm.
actually, because it would actually basically give us a chance to actually see if she actually gets her hands dirty, right? Because the thing with Eris, again, is Eris does not have the protection of a ghost. So
No.
Eris has to be much more focused on, this kind of similar to Asher. Even though Asher technically still has a ghost, he kind of is paranoid about that. You know, Eris is much more focused on the actual reality that all the Guardians just went through with the Red War. That's Eris's reality
Right.
going forward. So that's yeah. I'm excited to see where they take Eris's story with Shadowkeep.
I think so too. I
Yeah. Yeah,
I
I'm in the same boat because I think that of all the NPCs who have touched the like towards the darkness, she's been the one that has been able to tie some of the stories together a bit better. Like Toland still feels like more of an abstract being because we've only seen him in his light and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Eris, we really got to know better. So now seeing um her progression from the Red War and from Destiny 1, I think is going to be a lot of fun and really lead us to, I think, some unexpected character twists, I would imagine, with her as well. I know they've harped a lot on she's not evil, and I think that's 100% believable. But also, I think being that there's such shades of gray in her character, that seeing more of that, I think, will be where Shadowkeep can really shine, as far as
mhm.
having a relatable and interesting NPC that um, deals with this concept of the nightmares.
Well, and I think too the thing that to keep in mind there is also arguably the Drifter's not evil either.
Mhm.
No.
Like the Drifter's not evil. He's just out for himself. And I think that's kind of along the lines of where Eris is kind of coming from, is that, not in the same necessarily vein, but in the same light that the Drifter is kind of in between. I think that's where Eris is too. Because Eris, and that's the thing too, is Eris has power. Like Eris has significant power. She is able to teleport us around. I mean that was
right.
and that was back.
The
That
trick
was
she
back.
learned from Toland.
Yeah, that was back in D1. Like that was. I mean, she pulled us out of the moon when we were in danger. So I mean, it's not that she's not capable. I mean, she definitely has something. And then she also at the end of D1, we had her stepping through like a portal. You know, she had the whole gateway thing going on when she visited Asher.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, I think they're obviously we've seen that with more and more of the NPCs with Drifter and with it started with Eris, I think, as someone who's been in the game, but now we're gonna probably see that with Shin Malphur as well with some of his recent tales.
definitely, yeah,
And
definitely.
I wouldn't be surprised if there was connections between all three of them in ways we wouldn't expect as well, because they're all kind of dealing with the same concepts in their own individual journeys. But I would love to see where that goes and where their paths kind of intertwine in the future of the game.
Mm-hmm. I think just wild thing that I want to see is I want to see a new enemy on the horizon that causes us to have those nightmares and have these things come back to bite us. I want to. It may be somebody from lore, but I want to see something new. It theoretically could be Zavathun. Granted, every time something happens in game, it theoretically could be Zavathun. So, I want to see what can actually be pulled forth. Something new, hopefully. Should we?
Yeah. I was just gonna say it's this hard balance that keep putting in front of us of there's so many potential enemies on the horizon,
Right.
and where do they tie up loose ends as insofar as they can be tied up compared to where they introduce that new things to keep us our interest peaked and our curiosity at an all-time high, because the spin foil is something that I think a lot of people look forward to. And so having these potential, like just these, even if it's like you said, just a little tease towards the new enemy of maybe there's a relationship there between the new enemy and some of the things we've seen in the past that we didn't know about.
Mm-hmm. It's certainly going to be an interesting way for them to reuse assets, by the way. I actually like this version of what they're planning to use with them. Smart. Anyway, should we move on to shoutouts?
Yes.
So, Jopa, I want you one more time to shout out all the different places people can find you if they want to contact you or hang out with you. That and any other shoutouts you may have for the week, prayer requests, whatever you need, man. Go for it.
So like I said earlier, I'm on Twitter pretty much all the time, unfortunately. At Joe Per Writes, Twitch is also Joe Per Writes. I stream pretty much Monday through Friday in the mornings Eastern time, 8 a.m. to 2 or 3 depending. And then also on Instagram, I do write for Planet Destiny. You'll see some of my articles up on there from time to time. I do a lot of kind of updates and quest reviews and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's mostly it. I'm pretty easy to find. If you place, you'll find me pretty much everywhere. I tend to cross promote pretty well. So.
And Jopa Writes is JOPAWRITES, not RITES, like or RIGHTS. Yeah, Jopa Writes.
Yes.
Blue, do you want to go next or do you want me to go next?
You can go next.
So, got a kind of a laundry list of shout outs this week. mainly things coming up since Guardian Con is we're less than 2 weeks away. It's getting really close. It's getting really scary because it's gonna be here. So things that are happening at Guardian Con. Blue and myself will be on the lore panel on the main stage on Friday for the stream. You should be able to. I'm gonna say this. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. You should be able to watch it on the Guardian Con stream because they generally stream the main stage. So you will likely be able to see us doing that if you are not able to go to Guardian Con. If you are able to go to Guardian Con, please come and hang out with us. We are going to have Blue and I, Bife. My name is Bife, and Baxter, and Mylan Games. That was the last one. I about blanked on Matt. But
I won't tell him if you won't tell him. Number 4 lore.
And there is a possibility of other things going to surprise you. You don't want to miss it. Please don't miss it. Beyond that, Saturday at 11 a.m., both Blue and I will be at Issachol's booth, the Bad Redacted Joke booth, and we will be signing the posters that Issachol made. That is the poster that has Bife, myself, Blue, and Beard Grizzly as our character avatars on it that she did. She did it twice. She started it back in December. She had to redo it early this spring. So we're going to be signing those posters at 11 a.m. on Saturday. Beyond that, remember that Blue has up the new t-shirts and the stickers and everything on Teespring. And Guardian Con fundraising for St. Jude is currently, at the timing of this recording, at almost $2.6 million. We are so close to that $3 million goal. If you have not donated, please reach out and do that. Even if you don't do it necessarily in a stream that you care about, reach out, help out. We're going to smash that 3 million. We're getting real close.
That was the goal. That was the goal for the whole thing, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
And we haven't even started. And
yeah,
because the event itself will have, there's going to be fundraising going on during the event too. I mean, it's amazing.
And sure. Dr. Lupo saw us. His block is going to be
huge.
Bananas.
He's closing it out, I think, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yep.
And speaking of huge
Bungies, yeah.
Yeah, they almost did awesome. $500,000 on their own.
For a dead game, they did pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, DMG had to eat a lot of bread.
What, 40 slices?
He's gonna be dressed like bread at Guardian Con too.
Yeah, I cannot wait to see that. Plus, he has to get a tattoo.
I 100% need a picture with him in his bread cosplay.
I just remember him tweeting, and he was like, "I think I'm gonna substitute tortillas for bread." And I was like, "That's a bad idea. Don't do that."
Yeah, it's so bad.
That's a terrible.
Yeah. Way to go, Bungie. Thank you for helping out with this. We have new meme material, by the way. I don't know if anybody's seen this yet, but DMG posted a picture of Deej pointing, and he has a really sassy look on his face, as Deej tends to do. Please go meme that. I want to see as many memes as possible if you have a creative bone in your body. I may have made a tiny Twitter bird on his finger and sent it out to some friends to put captions on. So meme that out, have fun with it. Stop in and say hi in the streams. Even if you don't donate, alert other people that this is going on. Tell them what it's about. Tell them that we're raising money for the kids and get the word out. So that is my shout outs. Blue, you are up.
That's you pretty much covered the ones that I think we pretty much have on our minds right now. If you, just to repeat though, the shout outs earlier at the very beginning, if you have ideas or you want to see something in particular for like t-shirts or anything like that, please let Green or I know. We're always happy to see that. We're also, if you, just putting this out there as well, if you have any interest in doing content creation at all with any game for analysis and stuff like that, that's really what we try to do with the Lore Network. And so, definitely let us know if, we have pieces of Path of Exile, we have Final Fantasy, we have, I think we have even a couple articles about movies and TV shows. Voltron and Annihilation, I believe, are the two that are up there right now. So, I mean, definitely anything that you are passionate about that you want to write, or even do an audio recording or anything like that, and you want to have, a way to share that with people, let us know. But yeah, and just again, give a huge shout out to you guys for for putting up with us for as long as you guys have put up with us. But we'll see you. We'll episode 172 for Focus Fire. We're already on episode 30 something for the extra lore, and we're on 45 for the top 3. So I mean, we got it. I mean, we're getting up there and on all of them really. So again, just huge shout out for you guys, the listeners. But yeah, we will be back next week, and then I believe the week after that, because I think it's 12 days. So the week after that, we'll be able to see you guys in person, which is crazy. But you guys have a great week, and we will talk to you next week.
Bye.
See ya.
All right. Stop recording. Export as WAV file.
Yep. Start that process.
Huh.
Oh, goodness. Good show. Good show.
Definitely.
Good talk. Thanks for jumping in, Jopa.
Hey, no problem. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Definitely. Let me grab, because I need to grab the... Oh my god, Evangelion's on Netflix.
I don't know what that is.
So fucking happy.
Also, how about hot dogs or sandwiches shirt? Do you want like a top 3 shirt, Buru? Have we really done 45 episodes of top 3?
Give me 1 second.
Raz.
Let me check.
Raz, what did you do? Goes to Twitter. Nothing on that one.
Yeah.
You didn't put it
tonight's
on the one.
Tonight's will be 45.
Yay! I can't believe we've done that long. That means we've gone over a year, haven't we? Weekly podcast. No,
close.
52. 52 would
close.
be a year.
I mean, we've skipped a couple, so...
Right. Interesting.
I think the first one was...
Chinchilla. Okay, how do you feel about tacos as a sandwich, though? Pop-Tarts are just sweet ravioli?
Yeah, actually...
Cereal is just cold soup?
Cool.
Tonight would be the year. The first one was back in June 16th of 2018.
Oh, cool. Please don't ban Veru. Oh, man. We should make a sandwich. Veru, I'm going to task you with this. You have to design a sandwich that we're going to call the Payan.
Oh, God.
It could be like a Subway sandwich or something else, whatever you design. And I will make it and eat it and take a picture with it. And we'll put it up. Pizza rolls are Italian gushers.
Oh my god.
That is amazing.
That is fantastic.
Where's Pins?
I think he went to bed. And Maid has broken chat.
That is fantastic.
Chinchilla, what country are you in? Oh my goodness. Canada, nice. I didn't know Canada had bagged milk. That's interesting.
That's disgusting.
It's not any more disgusting than putting it in a carton.
Yeah, which is why I just don't drink it in general.
I like milk.
That's disgusting.
You're disgusting.
I like milk too.
Yes. I miss Justin too, Bibble. Life gets in the way. Life happens. Made broke blue. That's true. Top 3 worst possible foods, like least favorite foods? Or oh goodness. Oh, for worm's sake. Should that be the new curse in here?
I like that for shirt idea.
Yeah, I do too.
Where do you want me to send the WAV file once it's done?
I
He
dropped
dropped
it
a
in.
link
Yep.
Okay.
in the chat, Fulia. Worst food, fish milk? Is that a that's not a thing.
Oh God, I'm.
Olive loaf is pretty damn good. I don't know what you're talking about. Top 3
Two
strange
words that
food
should
customers.
never. Two words that should never be together.
Yeah.
Yes, Raz. That's
What
amazing.
Raz, you better send that to me. You sent it to him DM, didn't you?
No, she
You.
posted it on Twitter.
God damn it, I haven't seen it yet. Beams. I'm going you oh my god, I'm gonna hurt you. Why I'm on Petra account. That's why I can't see it yet.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Oh, I'm glad there's no face cam. Let's see here. How do I respond to that? Wicked? Why did you freaking retweeting it?
I already beat him to it.
Oh my god, you too. Stop it. I don't. You do realize we are meeting at GuardianCon.
Huh?
I'm meeting up with Raz at GuardianCon. The woman deserves a Nobel Peace Prize. How is that peace? That is causing a war. Oh my god, you guys. Whip Squad. That's gonna be my freaking stream community, by the way. I'm gonna make that my community.
That's great.
There's my response.
Oh my god. You guys. This is majestic. Send me your whips. You guys all I'd like to say I hate all of you, but I actually love this, so I'm just a little oh god. Oh my gosh.
So
So
your
were your-
whips? There's so many different meanings.
Uh-huh. Black
So
Fog,
bad.
you can always be my whip.
Oh!
Welcome to the After Dark special. My goodness. You guys. You guys are cracking me up. Oh my god, even Beard liked it. Oh no, Beard liked the picture of me creeping on you. That's funny. Oh, goodness. You do not know what you're causing. Okay, Vuru, Doom, and Wicked, and Blue.
What? I didn't do anything. I'm looking
Uh-huh.
up. I'm looking up what it takes to do a Cree-cut machine.
A cricket?
Is that what it is? That's not how you
That's
say
what they
cricket.
call. I know that's not how you spell cricket, but that's how it's what it's called. Green has us whipped. I mean, not yet, obviously. I haven't seen your Did you retweet too? Did I just not see this yet? I see you like it. My goodness, you guys. Raz. Whip Squad. I need to rebrand around this if this is going to be a thing.
Trolling them with bagged milk.
Oh, Dino, yeah, totally. We haven't necessarily set up a meet and greet or anything like that yet, or even a, what are they called? The hangouts, like a dinner type thing. I don't think I would mind setting up a meet and greet though. What do you say, Blue?
It just depends on time, because like time it's
Yeah.
gonna just be premium is what it is.
Schedule is going to be interesting.
Because I'm still waiting for confirmation on different schedules.
Are you still waiting on the recording schedule?
There's that, and then there's a couple other ones that I'm waiting, because...
Bye, Jopa.
Oh, bye.
Oh, shit. Oh, damn, he said his computer locked up.
Oh, no!
Maybe get a drawing done of Petra with a whip. Oh my god. You mean you have a work in progress of Petra with a whip? Hashtag needs the eye patch hanging off of it. My god, you guys are killing me. Why? He might have it on the phone.
He should. Oh,
I know he's in chat on the phone. Jopa, let's see. He might not have audio on.
I'll text him.
Okay. Drop files here, or hit the new button. I don't want a can of glowing worms in my hand. What the fuck are you guys going on about? He does say that he has it saved on his computer.
Cool.
Petra went through a lot to get that kid. Black Flag, I did not realize you were that into my RPs. And yes, she did have to go through a lot. Let's see here. Where did I... That's invitations. I can delete that audio. There we go. Petra, not you. Don't get it too excited. Buru. Welcome to content creation, Raz, where your phone blows up from all the notifications. And your battery drains super fast. You can do it, Doom. Locksmith medals are the worst to get.
Yes!
What did?
Scrawled Songs is posting again.
I don't know what that is.
Hang on, I'll get you a link. It's like... there's no really way to explain this.
Jopa says he has almost not all notifications turned off because of it. Yeah, I get you. That's cute. Or not cute, but cool.
Oh, Scrawled Songs?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, go to their account. It's just that. Like, just random... They
lyrics.
No, it's like freehand prose. Like, it's just really cool stuff. I love their stuff.
Nice.
I have another plug for if then statement, but I have it plugged into Google Drive. Josh loved the idea of the prestidigitation use.
Nice.
He said he was at a hang on, let me make sure. So his reaction initially was he's like so I sent him I'm like, I just heard an ingenious use of a prestidigitation spell. Giant glowing sex toy for a torch. To which his response is, wait, what? Oh, like, literally, wait, what? Like a vibrating dildo of continual flame? Like,
Yep. That's exactly
that's
what it was, essentially.
That's exactly what it was.
And it wiggled down the hallway, like it actually wiggled its way.
To which he responds, this sounds like my kind of game.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a lot of penis jokes because...
I was like, yeah, it's something that came up in stream, to which response is, that sounds like something that would violate the Twitch terms of services.
I didn't say...
And I was like, there wasn't any visuals. He's like, oh, okay. And then he goes into detailing. So he was in a game, I think maybe tonight, and the party ran into a hallway that destroyed anything non-magical. So people started stripping to test out the hallway. And Josh stole all their clothes.
Because he's a thief?
No, because he's an asshole.
Oh, okay, that works too. God, yeah.
Then he sent me a picture of the map, and he's like, it was definitely a hallway of innuendo.
Yeah, like... running a D&D session is a perpetual practice of avoiding as many adult themes as you can, but the freaking players are going to do it. You guys embrace it as the players. The DM's trying to have a fucking serious mission go on, but everybody's DMs, walking around with dildos and stripping.
Even as DMs, like, we embrace it. You obviously you need to play a game with us. I need to play more.
I need to play more. God.
And he's like, oh, it's okay. The tip only went about 15 feet in.
Oh my god. Shizzler, your ears were burning? Oh man. How's Hawaii, my man? There's all sorts of freakiness going on right now. Go to bed. Hey now. It's 12:14. I need to go wake up my wife and exchange places with her because she's at the house that I was house sitting watching the dog, aka asleep probably on the couch. Heat wave words. Yeah. That time zone difference. That time zone. Okay, I think mine is uploaded.
What's a sleep cycle?
Yeah. Not apparently something that matters to a golden doodle. The frickin' dog woke me up at like 5 a.m. this morning. I'm like, go the fuck to sleep.
Golden doodle. It sounds
it's like a golden
cartoon character.
It looks like frickin' Pluto with curly hair is what he looks like. And he acts like him too. Kind of dumb but also smart at the same time. Yeah, he's a mess. He's a golden retriever poodle mix. Has a Dr. Seuss tail, essentially.
Dr. Seuss tail?
Yeah, it's a giant curly cue. It's super cute. He's adorable, but that tail fucking hurts. Really? You're already doing a test cut? What the fuck, Raz? Jesus. I can't handle this. Yeah. It's not my dog, though, Joe, but my dog gets up at a reasonable time, like 7 a.m. Apparently, Jaw likes to get up at frickin' 5 as soon as it's light out. Yeah, Raz is quick. Yeah, we're in the after show, Shiz. Good discussion, though. Good discussion on Hive. As well, like on Hive mythology and of theories for Shadowkeep. That's too. We've been getting a lot of t-shirt ideas.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay. I need to write
What was?
that. Veru's thing. Damn it, where'd my... There.
Oh, goodness. So I'm trying to decide. I have some cosplay stuff for Petra. I don't know if you saw that piece I posted on Twitter, Blue.
Uh-huh. Oh, I saw... Is that the same one that you sent me?
Yeah, the leather one, the
Mm-hmm.
purple, the belt. I don't know when to wear it at Guardian Con because I don't want to be on stage with the lore masters in a Petra costume, a really casual Petra costume.
Wear it, on Saturday.
Yeah, I could do that. I also have my Hydra shirt though, because I have we have a team shirt. So it's like I kind of want to wear that too. I might just bring a change of clothes to the con and only wear Petra for part of the time.
Well, the con is in the same building as our hotel. You don't have to
Right.
bring a change of clothes. Just run back up to
But
the
I don't
room.
want to have to go through security again. If they're doing security like they did last
Um.
year.
Oh, did we have to? I never left the floor, so did you have to? Oh, that's right, because you guys went and got food.
Yeah, because we went and got Bife a sandwich
Yeah,
because
that's
Bife
right.
was
Not
refusing to
eating.
eat. I should do the Petra lore stuff in character. I mean, I don't think she'll come up specifically. I really don't. Her stuff is very last season, I guess. You expect me to make that knife float? I mean, I can toss it in the air. I just can't make it float. Why
Do the
was
knife
Bife
trick. Do the
refusing
knife
to
trick. Do it
eat?
again. Do it again.
Later, maybe. Bife was refusing to eat because Bife was incredibly busy.
Yeah. It
He
wasn't.
our
It wasn't
schedules are
by
crazy.
choice. It wasn't
No,
by
he
choice.
just was. Yeah, he had like a Snickers every once in a while. He was sustaining himself off of candy. But so Purple Chimera and I basically parented him and went and bought him a sandwich. But yeah, he just had no time to sit down and eat. He was going from meet and greets to panels to all sorts of things. People are going to set up a memorial vigil for Kate at Guardian Con and just leave ridiculous. I don't know. I haven't heard anything about it. Eris is covered, yeah. Did you guys buy Bife a hot dog? No, we actually got him a Cuban sandwich. But yes. Yep. Sometimes we need a little help from our friends. But I should probably hop off so I can go and relieve Julie from dog sitting duties. Hmm.
Chinchilla.
What do you say? Last top 3 episode had me fucked up because I'm like, I've never heard of half of this shit. What was last week? Oh, top 3 favorite foods,
Comfort
right?
foods.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm trying to remember what one. I remember tater tot casserole was my number 1. It is meat. It is basically ground beef that has been browned with cream of mushroom soup, cheese, and tater tots on top. Jopa says his upload has 10 minutes left. Yay, Shiz! Shiz is going to be at Guardian Con. Shiz, are you going to be able to, like, adjust time zones? Because that's a long-ass time away. As far as, like, your time
It's
zone shift.
what is that? A 6-hour shift?
It's more than that. Because it's 8. I guess it would be like a 6-hour shift. That's still a long shift if you're used to getting up at a certain time.
Yeah, 6 hours. You just don't sleep on the flight, or you sleep on the flight. Like you just basically Just don't sleep or sleep the whole way. Is the way we've always done it.
Dino, is there really a right way to have milk?
So you're the guy who gave him the hot dog.
Doom for Zombies is totally the guy that gave him a hot dog.
I was about to say, Shizzler came last time, didn't he?
Yeah, Shiz was at Guardian Con last year.
Yeah.
We hung out for a little bit.
Shizzler, when are you landing? I guess is the other thing is, do you have a buffer?
You said you didn't have too hard of a time last time. So wine is bagged. Capri Suns are bagged. Blood is bagged.
Yeah, I don't know about soda, because soda would be... I would think soda you would have to worry about the carbonation.
It
usually
makes no difference. If it's a sealed area, it does not make a difference because it's contained within it.
I guess that's true. Well, but I mean, like, when they have the quote air quote bagged soda for the vending machines or whatever, the soda dispensers, that's just syrup. The carbonated water is actually in a
right. It's the
syrup is the only thing that's in the bag.
You get a carbonation
tube, basically.
Yeah, I mean I used to work at Orange Julius, so I've had to replace like the soda.
Yeah, it's a pain in the ass. Is
soda
basically what
stuff.
it is. Yeah, I was always the one that had to.
Oh,
Peru.
Okay, Veru, you do need to go to bed, hon. Wow. Let the most vile filth come forward. Oh, Chinchilla, if you ever get a chance to drop by in my stream when I'm streaming on my channel, you'll hear some filth no matter what time it is. We are quite lewd and just adult. We are very adult in my channel. Black Flag can attest to that. Throw the gates wide open. Let's see here. God. Shizzler. Oh my god. Final Fantasy 14. Which part made? Which part? But all right. Have fun, Dino.
All right, stream. You guys have a good night. I'm gonna go back to Evangelion. I think Green's gonna go house sit or something.
Yeah, I'm gonna go take care of a dog. If you have any more ideas for t-shirts, stickers, whatever, just tweet at me like Raz did. Hopefully it's not more things about whips, but you know, if it's more things about whips, you guys are doing my branding stuff for me, so great. But have a good night, guys.